What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the conversation today. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Big up Quaja, big up Gavin, big up everybody that's stopping by for the conversation today. We got a lot to get to. We got a lot to get to today. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's talks of new managers and injuries and all this other shit that's going on. Um, for everything that's going on. But I hope everybody's having a good I hope everybody's having a good Monday. But let's start with the news real quick about De Zerbi. De Zerbi to Tottenham is linked. Apparently, from what people are saying, is Tottenham's closing in on a contract with De Zerbi. They're offering crazy money to De Zerbi to take over the manager at this current point right now. I personally don't think De Zerbi, I don't think it's a smart move for him to go to Tottenham, if I'm being quite honest with you. However, if you're going to finesse Tottenham for what they're saying they're offering to pay him, then finesse them and bounce out as soon as it's over and get them stuck with you. But hey, man, big up Benji, big up Manny. I'll be putting the link in the chat here in a sec. I just want to get through a couple things before everybody hops on. Listen, at the end of the day, De Zerbi, I hope you finesse Tottenham for the money because I love seeing Italians win. So if you put some more money in your pocket, brother, I hope you finesse them. Listen, the one rumor I saw was 12 million is what they were offering De Zerbi. I mean, I'm sorry. The guy's a good manager. He was good in Italy, but he's not worth no 12 million, not with no major trophies behind his belt like that. So for me, it sounds like Tottenham's going to get fleeced again. I'm not mad at it. It is what it's death. It is what it is. It is what it's death. It is what it is. But for me, I think at the end of the day, De Zerbi, you're going to hurt your stock because I think they're going down no matter what. I don't think you're going to be the guy to change the fortunes of Tottenham. I really don't. Manny, it's my team, man. Chicago Blackhawks all day. Chicago Blackhawks all day. My favorite team in Chicago. But yeah, listen, it's what's going on with Tottenham is crazy. Talking to De Zerbi, listen, I don't think De Zerbi changes much. I think the problem is those players overhype themselves. They think they're better than what they are. And I don't know if a fiery manager with the way De Zerbi is going to be the best option for Tottenham, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think I think we're going to see some real interesting stuff going on. But let's get into the World Cup qualifiers. Obviously, the big one is Bosnia and Italy. Now, Bosnia is at home. There's been sights of that. It's been snowing on the ground over there, and that the weather could potentially play a factor into this game. However, there's no excuse. Italy has to qualify for this. There is no excuse. Italy has to qualify. We've beaten Bosnia in I think 4 out of the last 5 times that we've played them. There's only one time where we drew with them in a Nations League. I think it was 1-1. But the last 2 times we've played them, we've scored 3 goals and haven't given up a goal. So for me, at the end of the day, I think that we should be getting this job done. But going forward, Bosnia is much more dangerous than Northern Ireland is, especially when you consider that they have the likes of both Aiden Dzeko and Demirovic as well from Stuttgart, who's a very good striker. So for me, I'm not too confident. I'm still kind of not confident, even though we have the better side. For some reason, I just don't feel confidence. I feel like Italy has a mistake in them, and I think that we could possibly see Italy getting knocked out by Bosnia because Northern Ireland showed in the game against Italy. If Italy doesn't have their creative mind going forward, we're going to have some problems. And for me, oh, Benji, you're Bosnian? Oh, really? That's fucking dope. Didn't know that. But listen, man, the worry is Bosnia has so much more quality than Northern Ireland does going forward. You can put passes together. That's what's up. I got a lot of my boys over here in Chicago are Bosnian. I got a lot of Bosnian buddies. Homemade burek and homemade chavapi is fucking next level gas. Next level gas. Benji Staima. I know a little bit of Bosnian. I've been learning from some of my buddies. But anyways, listen, we should beat Bosnia, but you never know. You never know in these qualifiers. It's a toss-up, really. I think it's a lot closer than what a lot of people think. But Italy should beat Bosnia. We should beat them, but I would not be surprised if Bosnia pulled an upset on Italy. Italy is desperate for a play. Namonista, my man. My man. Burek and Chavapi are fucking gas. Love that shit. That's an expression in Chicago. We call good food gas. Other people call it fire and stuff. We call it gas here in Chicago. But yeah, listen, the qualifiers for Europe are insane. We got Bosnia and Italy. Listen, like I said, Italy should win, but would not be surprised if Bosnia pulled an upset on Italy. Denmark and the Czech Republic. Listen, I think Denmark should be going through. Yes, I know the Czech Republic got some decent players, but Denmark overall have a better team. The other good game is this Kosovo versus Turkey. Kosovo's got some decent players, but Turkey should be blowing them off the field. A fellow Neapolitan, Vincenzo Montella, is the manager of Turkey. I hope they get through. I really like a lot of the players that Turkey's got on their team. Actor Koglu, Burak Yilmaz, Yunus Akgun. I do like Meri Demiral as a center back. They got some good players. Obviously, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, and they've got plenty of other players as well on that team. So Turkey should be going through, but Kosovo does have a decent little team, and they are organized. So that should be a really good game. It's probably going to be a better game than the Italy-Bosnia game, but Kosovo and Turkey should be a good game. And you got Poland and Sweden. Listen, Sweden, the question is can they get Gyökeres firing enough for him to be scoring goals? Poland does have a decent team, but they are not the same team of what they've used to be. I just think Poland, that back line of Poland can be had. That back line of Poland can be got at. Ukraine is Sweden is the same thing. Their back line does give up goals. So that one's a toss-up. I do think Poland has the better quality throughout the squad than Sweden does, but obviously Sweden has the likes of Gyökeres up top. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But yeah. For the other qualifiers, I think Jamaica and the Congo is going to be interesting. I know everyone thinks that the Congo's favorite, but I do think Jamaica is going to pull through. If they don't, I'd be really sad because I'm hoping for my guy Taryn at BBK Sports. If you haven't subscribed to him, go subscribe to BBK Sports. I'm hoping Jamaica pulls through. I was hoping for everybody's teams to get through. I was hoping for Ireland to get through, for Shane and Views. I'm hoping that Jamaica gets through for Taryn. And like I said, hopefully Italy gets through as well. Iraq, Bolivia, I think it's a toss-up. I honestly don't know who would be favored in that one. Maybe Iraq. Bolivia, I'm not too sure of recent players for them. But if I got to give my picks, I think Italy get by in a shitty 2-1. I think Bosnia scores. I think we score first. Bosnia scores relatively quickly after us. And then maybe like an 80th minute, 82nd minute, Italy scores a goal and sees it out. Denmark, Czech Republic, I'm going to say 3-2 Denmark. Turkey and Kosovo, listen, I think a 2-0 to Turkey. Turkey's team is by far better than Kosovo's. They should be beating them. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Turkey comes out and smokes them. Sweden, Poland, my gut is telling me to go with Poland, and same thing like Italy. It'll be an ugly 2-1. It'll be an ugly 2-1. Congo and Jamaica, I'm seeing a 2-1 Jamaica. I see Jamaica pulling an upset. Iraq, Bolivia, like I said, I don't really know anything about the Bolivian national team, so I'm going to go with a respectful 1-0 to Iraq. So that's what I see coming up as far as that. But we got injuries to talk about. Well, before we get to Arsenal, Napoli, there's some interesting things going on right now. We have Mr. Romelu Lukaku, who has not returned to training. There's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, not obviously, I don't know for those who know or not, but Lukaku lost his father. He has been going through a very bad grieving prop. It's been taking a rough toll on him, and he hasn't returned to training. And there's talk if he's going to be back. Obviously, there is a massive game this weekend, 2 massive games this weekend. We have AC Milan versus Napoli, and we have Roma versus Inter. And the funny thing is, Roma Inter is on Sunday. Napoli AC Milan is on Monday. So there is a potential for Inter to drop points here. Listen, Inter has been struggling, and Roma, for me, is not a team that is not a good team for them to run into. I think Inter has won majority of the recency games again head-to-head against Rome. But listen, Rome, I think, has one of the best defenses in Italy. I know Inter does as well, but Rome's defense can get down and dirty. And I with the form that Inter's in, Inter needs to make this a statement game for them going forward. I just think that if Inter doesn't get a win in this game, I think Inter's on a full-on bottle watch again, and it could potentially come down to whoever wins between AC Milan and Napoli. Listen, if Milan win or draw, they're still in the driver's seat, but both of these teams are going to be going for wins, because if Inter does lose the game to Rome, Napoli and Milan will be able to close the gap. Milan will be able to close the gap to 6 points. Napoli would be able to close the gap to 5 points if they win. Rome is also trying to play for a Champions League spot. They're 4 points behind. They're 3 points behind Como. I'm sorry. They're 3 points behind Como, and they are behind Juventus on goal differential. So it's a massive, massive weekend. It's a massive weekend for the European spots for Italy across the board. Big up my guy Waffle Don. Go check out the Monday Night Madness show I did with Waffle Don. We do it every Monday. It's an awesome show. Always talk about Arsenal and everything else. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, go like and subscribe to Waffle Don. Ciao, paisan. Come stai? Big up Calcio Rinos. So like and subscribe to Calcio Rinos too. He's a big Juventus fan. He's a good dude, even though he's a Juventus fan, but he's a good dude. Knows his stuff too, man. But yeah, how much of a circus are Tottenham? They keep appointing wrong managers, and I can see Zerbi crashing out after a week because I cannot see him saving. Listen, if Tottenham are dumb enough to offer Zerbi $12 million, if I'm Zerbi, I'm taking the job, because I'm finessing them for that $12 million. I'm finessing them for $12 million, but that's my ass. That's how I would think in that scenario if I'm Zerbi. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's a single manager that can save Tottenham, if I'm being quite honest with you, RSV. I think Tottenham are done. There's no fight. You see fight with West Ham. You see fight with Nottingham Forest, especially the way they smoked Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham's staying up, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think Tottenham is going down. And like you said, did Zerbi won't stay in championship. But the same thing is for De Zerbi is this. De Zerbi is making a very bad choice. If he's choosing the money in this situation with Tottenham, he is hurting his coaching credentials by taking Tottenham and going down and getting them relegated. At the same time, if he goes there, changes it around, and keeps them up, it's a massive thing for him. But then the question is still, why do you choose Tottenham? If you're one of the hottest prospects of a manager in Europe, you haven't won anything, and you go to Tottenham, it's a situation where you would need to do something in the scenario of Ange for a couple years of getting them into Europe consistently and maybe winning a cup here and there, maybe winning a cup if you want to keep your coaching credentials at where they're at right now. Because De Zerbi, even though the situation at Marseille is what it is, his stock is still relatively high. And if he goes to Tottenham and it goes south, it's not going to keep his stock high. So I think it's a very weird decision by De Zerbi if he goes that route. But to finish up on the situation with Italy and Europe, listen, at the end of the day, Como is in the Champions League right now. For Cesc Fabregas, it's a fantastic story with what he's doing. He's the second best goal differential in Italy, only behind Inter. He's doing a fantastic job. Como, listen, it would be absolutely tremendous for them if they got Champions League. It would be absolutely detrimental to the finances of Juventus and Rome if they don't make the Champions League. Atalanta, listen, the situation with Atalanta is that Rafa Palladino has done a fantastic job of turning that team around from 16th to getting them back up to 7th. The damage had already been done. And the thing is this, they're still in the fight. There's 8 games left, 7 points behind Como. There is a fight for Champions League. They could potentially even jump Juventus or Rome for the Europa League spots. Palladino's done a good job overall. So I think it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. From 4 to 7 is very interesting. And 1 to 3, depending on form with Inter, is going to be interesting as well. So the Serie A, once again, last 8 games of the season, it's a freaking madness. Inter trying to continue to win. Napoli, listen, I don't think Napoli will win. I think it's more so going to come down to AC Milan or Inter. But Napoli, listen, if we can beat AC Milan, anything is possible. But I just have a feeling that I think Inter will see it out over the line. But this game will tell us. If they lose to Rome, if they lose or draw with Rome, then they're showing that that they're ready to bottle another season. And this game between AC Milan and Napoli is all important, because if Napoli win the game, you go 2 points clear of AC Milan. Destiny's in your hands. You don't have to play Inter. Napoli has a pretty easy schedule for the last part of the season. The only other tough game I think we still got is Como. And then after that, it's pretty much the bottom half of the table for us. So if we can beat Milan and stay consistent and Inter bottles, we could potentially stumble into a second straight Scudetto, which would be absolute insanity considering the season that we've had, that we would pull out a Scudetto at the tail end. But I just don't see it. I think Inter will see it out, but we'll see what happens with Rome. We'll see what happens with the situation with Rome. On to Arsenal. I am going to drop the link. That's you, Calcio. I hear it. That's you. Listen, if it's not Napoli, I'm rooting for Inter because I don't want to see Milan win a fucking Scudetto. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. I will pin it. Anybody who wants to hop on is welcome to hop on. We'll do some Arsenal talk. Listen, we got a lot to talk about with Arsenal because I'm hearing all types of fucking nonsense around the board. Across the board, there's a whole lot of nonsense that's going on. You got Gabby Agbon-Lahore, who's talking absolute shit out of his ass. He don't know what the fuck he's saying. Big up, Manny. Big up, Manny. Appreciate you hopping on, man. Big up Macy, too. Look at the guys hopping on. But I wanted to start with this. Listen, I heard Gabby Agbon-Lahore with his whole conspiracy theorist thing that this is Mikel Arteta doing this. He's breaking rules and all this stuff. Listen, Gabby, this shows you don't do your job because Arsenal really does have all these injuries. The only injury to me that's on this list that's not an injury is Odegaard. That's more of a mental thing and more of Arteta has thrown him under the bus for his lack of ability and why Eze took his position. And now the funny thing is because of Eze's injury, he has to go back hat in hand and ask Odegaard to try to go back to the old Odegaard to help us win. And like I said, again, injuries galore. Hincapié looks like he picked up a hamstring injury on international duty. Eze, calf injury. I mean, the amount of it, Noni Madueke was seen walking around with a brace around his leg after the injury. I mean, the injuries, we've known this for time. Us as Arsenal fans have known this for time that players have been hurt. The Saliba injury is nothing new. We've all said that Saliba's been hurt since the third game of the season against Liverpool. That ankle has never properly healed. It's nothing new. But Manny, I'll start this with you, and big up for hopping on. Do you think that are you prescribing to any of this nonsense? Big up J Lux. Big up J Lux, my guy. Are you prescribing to any of this nonsense that these are injuries that Arteta is just trying to pull the quote unquote dark arts, as some people are saying? And on the flip side of it, the fact that there's even people praising Arteta in this situation just shows how much coverage this guy is getting, and how the top gooners, as sad as it is, are already starting to find an excuse to keep him on for another season if he doesn't win. So my question to you is, do you think, how many of these injuries do you believe are actually injuries? And the second part of the question is, us knowing that all of these are injuries except Odegaard, how the hell are they coming up with coverage for this guy when we all know that he was given a much bigger squad and the same problems are happening again? Big up, Rob.
They're in a cult, brother. They're in a cult. You think of your legendary or most infamous cult leaders of years gone by, like Jim Jones or even David Koresh from the Branch Davidians.
Yep.
I think those two people would pale in comparison to this bloke right here. It has to be said. And that's another reason why it's all it's nothing but the most shameless PR you could ever get. And you're spot on when you say that this could be yet another excuse for if and when we bottle it. I'm saying if and when because I just hope we don't. And yet the worst part is, if you recall our recent history, in 2023, it was those draws rather than the losses that really, mucked us over. We don't even need to lose any of these games against Bournemouth, Newcastle, Fulham, and elsewhere in the league. If they, nick a point out of those games, then, we're sunk again because City can easily come back. And as far as what Gabby and Bonlahor says, there's a reason why, and I think Rob will definitely, back me up on this. There's a reason why people have nothing but the utmost contempt for TalkSport. It is filled, for the most part, with a bunch of utterly incompetent has-beens.
Retards. The only person. Go ahead.
Yeah, now here's the thing. The reason why I'm a little bit, I guard myself against using that term is that, I really do not want to make fun of people who, genuinely have mental disabilities. But some of those guys are just a bunch of absolute wasters. The majority of them, and Rob can again confirm, were just failed footballers. The worst two, in my opinion, are, these two absolute prats answering to the name of Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. O'Hara, of course, was ex-Tottenham. Cundy also played for Tottenham, but is more remembered for his stint at Chelsea. But both of those guys, quite frankly, are just absolute gutter snipes. And that is a more classic British term of, it's a classic derogatory term, and I think Rob might be able to educate you on the meaning if I can't. And what Bonlahor was saying, because at least he was able to, have a decent career with Aston Villa in terms of scoring goals before Ollie Watkins broke that record. I mean, it's another example of how you've got to be able to pay close attention to what is going on before you open your mouth about something. And clearly the man's clueless. He doesn't seem to understand. He doesn't even seem to be willing to, do some proper investigation, do his homework, as we would say on both sides of the Atlantic, and, make these more informed comments. And I feel for the likes of Ali McCoist and others who are working at that institution, having to deal with all of this crap, to be brutally honest with you. I won't deny that it's a guilty pleasure of mine to watch a few of their videos on YouTube every now and then, but that's as far as it goes. And it's like, again, I'm not really believing any of this stuff because we've seen the patterns this season. We've seen how, certain players would be seen to flag up a little bit, just be unable to, effectively do some basic things. And we all saw when we played Wolves at Molineux, Saka, who started in the 10, scored a goal, but did nothing since. And near the end, you could literally see whenever he would try to get the ball, he couldn't do anything, and you'd have one or two Wolves defenders just barely jogging back and taking the ball away from him. Now, if that isn't a sign of a wonderful player now in, decline, injury-related decline, I don't know what is. And it's quite evident for people to see that a majority of those players just aren't really, 100% fit. They're running on fumes. And the thing about these international matches, and again, you have this debate about whether or not they're needed, especially since, some players are effectively guaranteed their spot on the plane to go to the Americas, and you may have a point there. But there's a reason why he's picked the 35. And it's also worth noting that there, as we say in England, there's always many a slip between the cup and the lip. Gianni, I hope you can still hear me because I don't think you've got microphones, yeah? But
I can hear you.
Brilliant. Because, we had the qualifiers and they got over before the turn of the previous year in 2025. But in between the turn of the year and also these and the tournament, you've got some months where, form can fluctuate, chemistry can fluctuate, and certain players can end up going down the pecking order while certain players end up going slightly above the pecking order. So again, it's imperative that national team managers end up selecting these big camps of players to try and run the rule over certain players who may possibly also want to stake a bit of a late claim. And it made sense in some ways to rest the nailed-on starters for the Uruguay game, and if it meant handing caps to the likes of Jordan Henderson and a few others, then, so be it. But these international managers are also not fools. They observe these players in the camp, and they could also detect how fit or unfit these players are. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to international football, it's a serious business. It's not like, club football where, you have your league campaign, you've got about 30 odd to 40 games on some occasions in the league, so it's a bit more forgiving. When it comes to international football, it's knockout football. One false move and you could be out. So it is important that the players are properly fit so that he can, get an idea of just how their condition is, how their form is, and how well they're, connecting. And the worst part is that once we play against a Japan team who actually took Scotland to the cleaners, it must be said, in that second half, these games against Uruguay and Japan are really, really good tests because we don't get tested at all in the qualifiers. It's like we're the top seeds effectively in these, easy, awful groups. We win every single game almost at a canter. We didn't even concede a single goal. But when we come up against, these tough opposition, the likes of Senegal, who are, of course, African Cup of Nations champions, Uruguay, who are also a top-ranked team, Japan, multiple times Asian champions, we seem to have no clue. And so another topic could be how best we prepare for these games, but then we needed to have these games to determine our level and where we stood. And so if Tuchel made the decision that some of those players he sent back just weren't, fit enough or able to play, then, you've got to take him at his word. And it's not just Arsenal players who were sent back, let's not forget. I mean, yep. There were quite a few other players from some other clubs who were sent back, including our ex-goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, who's with Newcastle now. I don't know if he's going to, be able to play. Eddie Howe will be sweating on his fitness if that's the case. So I'm going to take Tuchel's word for it and say those players are, running on fumes / carrying some poor injuries. And so I'm not about to give Arteta credit for anything because, again, history has proved that Arteta tries to pull the wool over people's eyes. He's tried to do it every single time. He's tried to give the impression that, he's quite smart, streetwise and ahead of the curve. And yet we all know that he's nothing of the sort. And as I always say, they who know not and know not that they know not are stupid people, and you must avoid them and not believe a word they say. So I wouldn't trust Arteta, even if you paid me.
Facts. Macy, what do you make of all this talk with all the injuries going on with with Arsenal. And big up to you, man. Always appreciate you hopping on the channel. What do you make of all this? I am under the impression that every single injury that Arsenal has is a real injury except Odegaard. I think Odegaard is just Arteta throwing him under the bus and using him as a deflection tactic in order for him to hold on to his job. What do you think of all this stuff, man?
Big up Gianni. I'm just tired of this now because I knew when this manager sends some of these players out on international duty, I knew when they were going to be injured, this was going to happen because now we're in a bit of a pickle now, Gianni, because I can see us now bottling everything because with so many players injured, our chances of winning winning something, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, for Top Gooners to come out and still defend this narcissistic Borat motherfucker, I'm sorry. All you Top Gooners can fucking go to hell. Every one of you. I'm sick of this. Gabriel Bognahor as well. That Vin Diesel looking piece of shit. Why is he talking about Arsenal? I thought he was an Aston Villa player. So what? So support Aston Villa and leave Arsenal alone and let people like us talk about Arsenal. I'm just done with this, Gianni. I mean, I'm just not even confident we're gonna win something this season because ever since we bottled that League Cup to Man City, I knew that the injuries that we have was gonna happen, and this is why we're just gonna like lose every single trophy this season. And people want to say that we can beat Southampton. I'm not even confident we can because we've got to go to the South Coast at St. Mary's, and we've not had a good record at Southampton's ground since they got relegated from the Premier League. We have not beaten Southampton there for some time now, and I'm worried that if we go there and we fuck around and Southampton take advantage of one mistake from us, then we can kiss that FA Cup goodbye. I really want us to win that FA Cup because I've seen us win that FA Cup with Arsene Wenger in charge, and people want to sit there and say that the FA Cup is dusted and washed up and is a small cup. Look in the mirror, people. That FA Cup represents the tradition of a football club because I watched that FA Cup in Arsene Wenger's last run as manager when we beat Chelsea 2-1. So I still have some great memories of that traditional FA Cup run, and I want us to continue that FA Cup journey. But if we played the same way we played against Mansfield in that FA Cup match, then Southampton would easily dispatch us one by one. And now that Nketiah is injured, who's going to take over as left back? Calafiori? Please. Calafiori is useless. I watched Italy versus Northern Ireland. They were targeting his side. I mean, Northern Ireland were targeting Calafiori's side, but it's a shame that they didn't like try and test your team, Gianni, and you guys came out victorious at the end. And listen, I mean, I wanted Northern Ireland to win that game, but the better team won the match, and credit to Italy. But am I confident they can go and beat Bosnia-Herzegovina? I am a bit confident, but it's just Bosnia for me. Like, they've really, ever since they beat Wales in that penalty shootout, they really looked like the real deal now, with Edin Dzeko still balling out at 40 years old. Yep. I'm still surprised Dzeko is still playing. Wow. But yeah, I hope your country goes through, Gianni. I hope your nation goes through to the World Cup because your team have not played there since 2014, which is a shame. So it would be an honor if your nation goes through, which will be a huge blessing. But let's see which team Leonardo Bonucci will put out. Is Leonardo Bonucci your manager, or is it?
No, it's Gattuso's fat ass.
Oh,
I think Bonucci is on the coaching staff though, along with Buffon.
That's part of the problem. Bonucci Bonucci and Buffon should not have any part of this national team because they were part of the problem.
I saw when Italy scored, Bonucci was just like doing some fist bumping. Like I was watching the goal.
Yeah, Bonucci and Buffon both have are both involved with the team, and they're the reason why Gattuso got hired. That's why I say they're part of the problem because it's the same old shit, different person when it comes to Italy.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment, Gianni, that your nation is hiring all these Italy scrubs. Like, you should go and hire a proper manager, somebody who can coach this national team and take it to the next level. I don't understand in this era why are so many football clubs interested in hiring legends that were never good enough to play very well, because Arsenal hired a man who was never good enough for Arsenal, but people want to sit there and say, oh, but he won the FA Cup and he captained the team to that final. So what? Was he good enough for Arsenal? No, he was average because we bought him from Everton because he was an average signing for us. So that doesn't mean he's a good manager. He's a good player. He's average. So so like I'm worried now, Gianni, because now that we've lost Madueke, Eze, is Declan Rice injured, or is he
he's listed?
Wow.
He's listed.
Yeah,
he will be injured, won't he? He'll be carrying something to a degree.
I think he's been hurt since last season. You can see it when he goes to take the corner kicks on his side. He looks like he's limping to go and take it.
Now that he's not going to be doing the corners now, this is scary now. Who's going to be taking over the corner duties for us now? Because Declan Rice's corner delivery has been very good this season. But now that we don't know if he's 100% fit for us, I'm worried who's going to do the corner routine for us. So, Gianni, our chances of winning any trophy this season is looking a bit scary now, with Man City still behind us in the table. Even though we are 9 points clear of them, Man City could still launch something. They could they could like slap up every team. Like after that League Cup success, they could at least slap up every team in the Premier League now.
Yeah. No, I said this on what if you look at it, I was talking about this with Waffle Don. The first 4 games that we have back in the Premier League are all teams that are fighting for Europe. City's fighting us for a league title. Fulham's in 9th place. Because England's going to get the coefficient for the Champions League, that means 8th place will get the Conference League, which is currently Everton. So Fulham's fighting for Europe. Newcastle's fighting for Europe because they're not far off Everton either, trying to get Conference League. Bournemouth is still fighting for Europe because they're only 4 points behind Everton.
And we got them after we played Southampton.
Exactly.
And they're going
to our first 4 games back in the league are all teams that are going for Europe. So it's not a foregone conclusion for me. It depends on the only reason why I'm still a little positive is because I don't trust City. But this game of City versus Chelsea, when we come back to playing the Premier League game, is going to tell us everything we didn't know. If City barely beat Chelsea, I'm still a little confident. If City come back and they blow the doors off at Chelsea, then I'm worried because then that's showing that these guys are taking it serious to come back. Rob,
our fault, Gianni, because we always let City back in because we handed them that League Cup, and now that if we fuck around and lose every game or draw every game, then City will say to themselves, "Oh, this is good now," because we may not we may be far from Arsenal, but this could be our chance to take advantage of Arsenal's slip up. So City could easily because City could smell something because Pep is just like he's waiting for the right moment for Arteta to blow something up, and then this could be what Pep wants because Pep is a very genius and clever manager.
100%. And to the point to what you were saying about Rice and everything. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Rice left. If I'm being quite honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised. Listen, if these charges and everything get dropped, which I think will happen with City. I don't think City's going to get in trouble for anything with that shit.
Of course not. Why
I'll be
shouldn't they?
honest with you. If these rumors about Rodri going to Real Madrid are true, I wouldn't be shocked if Manchester City won this league. I wouldn't be shocked that they let Rodri go to Real Madrid. And to be honest with you, crazy take, I would not be shocked if Manchester City approached Declan Rice to be the replacement for Rodri. Would not be shocked. Would not be shocked by it whatsoever.
Well, we know they've been interested before, isn't it? They were interested before.
Because that 2023 summer when Man City, like that was the year when we bought Declan Rice because Man City were interested first. But then Arsenal won the battle and they got Declan Rice at the end. So, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Declan Rice now turns his attention like elsewhere to now becoming a Man City player. Because why did I understand Rice wanted to stay at London and play for a big club like Arsenal, but the last 3 years at Arsenal have not worked well for him. Have not worked well for him so far.
Yep. No, 100%. 100%. Rob, we were kind of talking about this yesterday, but this question got brought up on the Monday Night Madness show with Waffle Don was, where would you rank this if we walk away this season with no titles? I think this would be the worst bottle job I've ever seen.
Well, it has to be, doesn't it? It has to be. There's just no other comparison. I mean, yeah. I mean, we go back to, what was it, a few seasons ago, I think we had a similar sort of 8 or 9 point lead, but also add in now, more time has passed, more kind of furore has built over the whole Arteta alleged empire dynasty. That's a word I've been seeing recently. He's built a dynasty, okay?
With no trophies.
Yeah, I'm not sure if people could understand the definition of that word, but anyway, okay, fair enough. You want to call it a dynasty, cool. That just goes to show you the level of standards these days, doesn't it? And then we get mocked for having standards. It's one of the strangest things. It's like wanting to win and having standards is a kind of mockable thing. It makes you kind of like a plastic fan. But it'll be interesting when we come back and we reconvene in the league if teams kind of do a similar thing to what Man City did to us in the Carabao Cup final, use that as a template. It'll be interesting to see if Arteta has an answer to that. I mean, surely it's something he must have thought about. Like, if we talk about it, you would hopefully think the man who's paid 15 million quid a year to manage the club is also discussing about it and trying to sort of establish a fucking a way of getting around it if teams do that again. It doesn't even seem to be that difficult a thing to do. Do you know what I mean? But listen, with Southampton, we were talking about Southampton obviously earlier. The last time we played Southampton in the FA Cup, 1-0 to them. Do you know what I mean? So we have recent bad history against them, and yeah, we have won a couple of times at St Mary's recently, but we've got a very up and down record there. We've lost a few times as well, and obviously we had the draw at the Emirates. The thing that I kind of, before you started the stream, I was watching Jez and Dan and that on a different stream, and what's blatant to me and what I see so much is that there's a lot of people still who don't understand that it's not necessarily the teams that we are playing that's the problem. It's the moment. It's the big pressure moment. So it doesn't really matter the team name. It doesn't matter if you're playing a Bournemouth, a Southampton, whoever it is. It's the pressure which is more important for this team. This team does not have a history of overcoming high pressure situations. I suppose the biggest one you could say in recent times is maybe the quarterfinal against Real Madrid. Even that was a couple of free kicks, great free kicks as they were. We didn't like totally. We were kind of. It was looking a little bit dodgy against Real until those free kicks. So
if they had their finishing boots on in the first 15 minutes of that game, we're down 2-0. Yeah, that's what everybody forgets with that Real Madrid situation with last year. I saw you put it in there. Who the hell was Jez on with?
So he was on with so it's the Goodness Therapy show. He's on with Positive Dan, someone called Anton, who I didn't know. And Goodness Therapy. So it was just another example of the completely almost seems to be a complete mental block with these people, with some of the top Gunner types of, the Arteta could in any way, or the coaching staff as well, can be in any way to blame for these injuries. There's no discussion of this. There's no even kind of like acknowledgement of this. It seems to be they just can't comprehend it. I don't think they have the capacity to understand it. Whereas for us, it seems quite obvious. I mean, like us in our community have been saying this time last year. We were saying this. We were saying this about Saka shouldn't be coming back so early. You know, the Real Madrid game was on the horizon. We felt he was being rushed back for that. And now look what's happened with him. But a lot of these people just cannot get it. They're fixated on this idea that, you know, there's a conspiracy about us allegedly faking the injuries now. And it's not about faking the injuries. Look, Rice and Saka didn't even play. They went to international duty. The coaches obviously took a look at them and thought, you ain't playing. You're not fit enough to play. They didn't pick up the injuries on the plane.
Real quick, Rob, what people forget is that if a player sustains an injury longer than a month on international duty, the international team is responsible for replacing their finances. They have to fill the time worth of pay in certain instances. Right. So at the end of the day, why would Tuchel want to even risk losing out on money for the national team if they have to pay back for the injuries? And again, when you consider the fact that Rice and Saka are two of our biggest earners, they don't want to be on the hook for all that money that they would have to give to Arsenal. So why would they do it in the front? And again, Saka and Rice are mainstays in the team. Whether Saka's been shit or not, we know Saka's going to get minutes at this World Cup. We know that's happening. So why would he risk guys that he may need to depend on? Which brings into this question that Suj asked. He goes, we all know that Saka's been below average for the better part of 2 years. That's definitely a fact. He goes, who do you realistically think England's got on the right wing? Bowen, Wanyeri, or Gittins? Listen, for me, it should be Bowen. And really, you could make a case that Bowen deserves to start over Saka, in my personal opinion, because
100%,
for all those GA merchants, we were doing it earlier on Waffle Don's channel. The guy's got only 15 GA in 40 some odd games, with still 8 games to go in the Premier League. However many games we have left to go. I mean, maximum is 5 games in the Champions League, but I don't think we're making the final. And at the end, and then possibly 2 more games with the FA Cup. So he hasn't done what world-class players are asked to do in the amount of games that he's played. So he's not world-class for those that want to keep driving that point home, but that's not true.
Do you know, sorry, just to cut in slightly, do you know how many people I talk to as well, actual 3D people out in the world, not like the ex-mutants or anything, who always, whenever I sort of get into a football chat with somebody who's a non-Arsenal fan, one of the questions they ask me a lot is, do you think that Saka is world-class? And obviously I say, well, no, he isn't. There was a chance of him becoming world-class. He had that potential, but he hasn't realized it. But the amount of people who kind of like talk about that, who are kind of non-Arsenal fans, there's a massive recognition that a lot of our online fan base doesn't realize, that a lot of people don't think he's world class actually, but them lot, they think he's the greatest winger in the world, basically, right winger in the world, basically, better than Yamawi here. And it's just like, what?
Yeah, right.
It's the brainwashing, it's the PR, it's the cult, it's the Scientology, it's Arteta's L. Ron Hubbard and all the stuff, and like it's just the madness of it. They will do anything. They are so relentless. They will do absolutely everything in their power to defend him, and it's just getting tiresome. And to be honest with you, if we do bottle it this season and not win anything, I honestly don't know if I can do another season of it. Like, do you imagine? I can't even face the idea of doing another season with him in charge and going through this all over again. And I feel like surely the players would feel that. Do you know what I mean?
The players are already feeling it. I think the players are already not buying the bullshit. I've said this on Shane Gooner's channel when I was on the Brews, when I had the pleasure of being on one of the early Brews Bananas of the season. And I said, pause, that sounded crazy, pause. But at the end of the day, I go, players check out on managers. You may not notice it if you've never played sport, but it happens at every age group. If a manager or coach is beating the same nonsensical shit into you that doesn't work, players check out. They'll go through the motions and play, but they won't take it as seriously. We saw it at Chelsea. Look at the player power that was there at Chelsea. These guys, however, the difference is a lot of these guys don't have the balls to call out the manager for stuff that's going on. So you have to wait and see what happens with Arsenal. For me, the other thing at the end of the day is when it comes to the fans, listen, if anybody's going to keep spinning this, I mean, they're going to, it's not anybody if. It is going to happen. They are going to spin this. It's just is there enough people that's willing to call out the bullshit? Because remember, as we said on the last call-in show, Aston Villa, the game that we bottled last year at home, where we were up 2-0 and we gave up the 2-goal lead in like 7 minutes. I think it was Watkins and Tielemans were the two that scored, and it was the game that the third goal for us got called back because it went off of Havertz's hand, and we ended up drawing that game. If you remember, that game was the game where it started, where he said, all these injuries. I don't know anybody. I'm in second place with all these injuries. I don't know if anybody else could do this. And they all bought it and ran with it till the end of the season and said, the whole reason why we're not winning this is because Liverpool stayed consistent and we got hit with injuries. The problem is that now they're forgetting that they said that and acting as if that they didn't say it. But now you have a situation where we legitimately have 10 injuries on this team. And the squad is much bigger than what it was last season. Because remember, Arteta's words out of his own mouth was, we knew we went into this season thin with squad rotation and depth. This season, we've spent nearly, I want to say, another $250 million this summer to make the team bigger. And it hasn't done anything because this guy doesn't rotate. So again, it's almost as if that these guys are trying to fight for everything that they have because they want to be proven right that Arteta is some generational manager. Because, like I said, it's not only now that they're coming for the injuries, but but they're using the injuries as the measuring stick for everything. If Arteta wins the league, if he holds on to win the league, it'll be the greatest. The top Gooners are saying it'll be the greatest league title that we've won. Because of getting through this big problem with injuries. And it's like, bro, this is self-inflicted. What the fuck are you talking about? It'd be a great victory. It's all self-inflicted with the injuries. And
exactly. And if I can just cut right in, there's a famous proverb which goes like this. You don't get credit for being the arsonist of your own house and then repairing everything. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So I hope that sums it up.
The only way you get commended for that is if you cash out on the money and you didn't get caught. That'd be the only way that you get any type of praise for that. But
exactly, it's like a big short all over again. You would say.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And the problem is at the end of the day, is these guys are, for some reason, they won't call out the bullshit, which I don't understand why. I really don't. I don't understand why these guys don't call out the nonsense. Don't call out the nonsense with this, because it cannot be that these guys are all trying to hope to get paid by this. It can't be. So that's why.
Go on.
All these guys can't be looking for jobs with Arsenal because they're all not going to get it. So the question is, why do you keep doing all this? If you care about the club. If you care, because here's the question now, right? Let's say he does bottle it. Now you're going to have a whole summer of wondering if people are going to come out with saying, you're going to have a whole summer of people either coming out and saying, oh no, he needs to stay. The injuries wasn't his fault, blah, 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 blah. Or some of them are going to stick to their guns and say, oh, if he didn't win a major, he has to go, right? But now the question you have to ask yourself is, let's say that majority of the top Gooners, the positive fans, say, oh, he has to go because he didn't win a major. What now happens if a new manager comes in and exposes him for all the problems that they're going to have with injuries? Because there's a lot of players that we got to get rid of because of injuries that are dead wood at this club. That's the thing that interests me, because if you look at it, we're walking into a season next year. Saka gets up to 300,000 for his contract with that. There's talk of Declan Rice getting moved up from 240,000 a week to 300 as well for a contract extension. And you even got idiots out here talking about that Havertz should be getting an extension, which I don't know how the hell. Listen, if Kai Havertz somehow figures out how to get a contract extension and more money, everybody should be using his agent from now on, because that's the greatest agent in the world, because he don't deserve shit. One of the saddest things that I learned when I was looking at the financial side of things for Arsenal is, that Jurrien Timber isn't even getting paid 100,000.
Yeah. I think we mentioned that yesterday, isn't it? It's like there was only a handful of people who are under 100K, and Timber was one of them. One of the few players who should be on a fucking big wage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Urian Timber's on 90,000 pounds a week. Urian Timber and Zubamendi are both not on 100. Now, listen, I don't freaking give a rat's ass about Zubamendi not making 100 because he don't deserve 100 either way, in my personal opinion. But the fact that how much money are you going to have to throw at Timber to keep him is now a question, because if Timber's only making 90,000 a week compared to some of these other bums, if he wants a contract extension, you're talking about another guy that's got to jump from 90 to 200,000 in order for him to stay. So the whole thing's nonsensical. Big up AJ. No, dude, don't worry about it, man. You're one of the best.
You know, with regard to Timber, I'll probably say this. We do have a situation where Ben White will end up leaving the club because I think injuries have taken their toll on him and he's no longer the same player that he was. So, you know, the worst part about Timber is, you know, when he first started playing for us, that so-called manager who is quite frankly, you know, just as arse backwards as you could get, wanted to shove him over to the left wing. Now, I know that Koeman and all his, you know, wisdom or lack of it would play Timber on the left to accommodate Denzel Dumfries of Inter Milan on the right. You know, Dumfries, even at his age, is still, you know, absolutely outstanding, even if he is slightly coming close to the end of his career. But again, the very idea of playing someone who is so predominantly right-footed on the left just does not really sit well with me. I know there have been some great players who've done it in the past, but for the most part, you always want to play a fullback on the side where his shooting foot is. It's as simple as that. And he actually mucked up his knee and was out for literally a whole season because he played on the left. Thankfully, Arteta learned his lesson and shoved it back on the right, and he's proven to be, you know, one of the more consistent defenders that we've had. So if there is a situation where he ends up becoming our first choice right back and we aren't able to sign any kind of I mean, we do need to sign someone who can compete with him, but he should be our first choice going forward. I think he could very well be in a position to demand a little bit of a pay rise because his performances have merited it. It just angers me so much that, you know, certain people who don't deserve the money are getting paid. And as I said in the chat before I came on, idiots and their money are so easily parted. And it's always the case. And, you know, it's funny how we're talking about how Spurs have shown their stupidity by being willing to throw money at, you know, Zerbi to come and work for them. But what are we doing? We're also throwing money away. I don't remember if you've seen this Tom Hanks film, The Money Pit, where he was acting with a British actress. I think it was Lisa Goddard, if memory serves me right. But, you know, you can get the gist of what I'm talking about. When you throw money at things which don't have any, which serve no real purpose, exactly what are you doing? We're just lucky that because we have, you know, so much scalability and a big global brand, we are guaranteed to have revenue coming in, and so, you know, we do have money to burn if that's the case. But then, if you're going to waste this much money, you know, it's not going to be worthwhile. And then going back to your question on whether how a new manager could very well expose all of the, you know, the murky doings that have gone on in the previous regime, we also have to ask a question: if and when Arteta leaves, will this new manager be backed? Because we saw what happened with Unai Emery. Although, to be fair, Arsene Wenger was with us for 20-odd years. I mean, that's literally a freaking lifetime, for Pete's sake. And so Unai Emery, for all of his good intentions and how he probably tried a bit too hard to make sure that he was, to convince people that he was worthy of the job. I just think it was, you know, a step too far for him. He was a fine manager who joined us at the wrong time, but he was never going to get the support that he wanted. He was never going to get the respect that he deserved. He saw a lot of, you know, things that were going on at the club with regard to the ever-increasing malevolent influence of Mesut Ozil, and he wanted him, but I don't think the board are willing to support him. And he also saw how several players were just not really, you know, respecting him. And, you know, big up to Kenny Ken as well. He literally went in hard on the team in that Europa League final, saying, we don't like, basically accusing the players of saying, we don't like this manager, so we're going to down tools for him. Put this in perspective. The retiring Petr Cech, who many fans didn't even want to see starting, was our best player on the pitch that day. So if Emery was not going to be given that support and backing, the next guy who comes in, I don't care who he is, he's going to have to literally start cracking the whip and making sure he gets the results that he wants and the team needs in order to get the fans on his side. And I still think that if we had at least won the Europa League or finished in the top 4 in that first season, it would have been a good springboard to go further. But sadly, things just, took their course. So I'm not confident that we'll be able to get any kind of support for the new manager if Arteta were to leave. And when you're in that cult, it's difficult. There is some hope, though, because I mentioned, David Koresh, the Branch Davidian leader. Apparently, according to urban legend, one of his close lieutenants actually came to the conclusion that he was working with a charlatan who couldn't be trusted. So he shot that bugger dead and, put an end to the whole thing. So eventually, those people, when it comes to cults, I think history can tell us that those people who give so much love and support and who end up finally realizing they're not getting anything in return, those are the ones who will end up, hurting, basically sticking the knife when it's least expected. So it will come to it.
I was just going to say as well on Manny's point there. I mean, I learned the other day, and it kind of shocked me initially, but then when I thought about it, I was like, oh, yeah, of course, that is true. Saliba is now 25 years old. He's not some young 19-year-old upstart now.
He's been here for 7 years.
Yeah.
He's been here for 7 years.
Let's face it, he's a class defender, and he deserves more than what he's earned. I mean, in terms of trophies, what he's earned. Was he even here? He wasn't even here when we won the FA Cup, was he? So
nope.
He's got 0 trophies unless you want to count the friendly shield. Yeah. So
glorified dinner plate.
And another thing as well, gentlemen, is that Saka is 25, but people are still calling him Starboy. I'm sick and tired of all these fan bases that still think that Saka is world class and he's still Starboy, bro. Fan base Muppets. He's 25 now, and I'm still so gassed. I'm still so pissed that we've given him 300 grand a week. Every time this manager starts him in any cup, in any game important, he just runs around the field. He doesn't do nothing. He just gets the ball, goes onto one side, and when it doesn't work, he just passes it back, and we have to start all over again. This is what I don't understand with the fact that we've given all these players so much money. Martinelli, for example, he is the most overpaid Brazilian in this team right now. I simply cannot believe we've given him so much money. And also we've given Kai Havertz 600 grand a week as well. All these players we've given money to, whoever paid, I think Edu was responsible for gifting all these players a lot of money. So everything is all on Edu, and I understand Edu should be held accountable for all of this, guys. Because if he hadn't given all these players a lot of money, none of this wouldn't have happened. So Edu, if you're watching this, you shameful Brazilian-looking Chavo Guerrero, this is on you.
Well, the thing is, the narrative with Starboy is that, he's missing Odegaard. So when Odegaard comes back, Odegaard's going to pass to him, and finally that'll unlock him again. That's what I'm seeing a lot. And it's just that wasn't happening before, though. So this idea, because Havertz was the one who was supposed to come back from injury and save us. That didn't work out yet.
All of them were. Everybody
now we'll turn to Odegaard.
Everybody who didn't work out was supposed to come back and save us. Everybody who's never worked out that came back from injury this season was the new fucking savior. Jesus hasn't been shit the entire time. He hasn't been shit the entire time that he's been here. He hasn't been here the entire time that he's been here. He hasn't done a fucking thing, and he got turned into the next savior. It's not 600,000 a week; it's 280. But here's an actual funny thing. Havertz is on 280,000, but here's the actual funny thing. Arsenal has the highest average salary per player in the league, more than any other team. And funny enough, here's the reason why this is hilarious. City, the average player makes more money per week than what they do at Arsenal. However, it's mandatory when you look at the way they do their wages, the amount of youth academy kids that are on the team, that they get promoted up. So they're allowed to hand out this crazy ass amount of money to all these different players that they have. We don't do
that. Win things.
Exactly. But that's the thing now, right? Because everybody is talking about, oh, they can't wait for Odegaard. Sorry, Ethan, you'd convince me more that Ethan Nwaneri would be a savior for this team more than fucking Odegaard is. I don't see any which way Odegaard is going to come back and do anything to make a difference for this team for us to go forward, which is, again, the reason why I made the point. Our next 4 games of our remaining 7 for the league are all teams that are playing for Europe, on top of the fact that City is our direct competitor for the league. So at the end of the day, the problem is that we're hoping Odegaard goes back to what he was 2 years ago, which ain't going to fucking happen unless a miracle happens. Because that would basically be one of the greatest comeback stories in sporting history if Odegaard went back to the way that he was to carry Arsenal to win the title. It could be a potential fucking movie, but it ain't going to happen. So at the end of the day, the only thing that can convince me that we're winning the league is if City drop points at Chelsea and we go on and beat Bournemouth. If we develop that much bigger of a league, then I can see us holding on to win out on the league. However, like I said, the biggest problem is what's going to end up happening. What's going to end up happening with these injuries? Because the injuries, listen, if all these guys are legitimately hurt, there is a very high chance that Sporting Lisbon knocks us out of the Champions League. A very high chance if all these guys are hurt, because Sporting Lisbon is not going to be an easy team to put out, number one. Number two, Southampton, we don't have a good record going to Southampton, and I think they're undefeated since January. Since the end of January, Southampton hasn't lost at home since then. So that's not an easy task.
I think it's 11 home games they haven't lost, something like that, yeah.
Yes, because they brought in that new manager, Tonda. I think it's some German guy who recently became the new manager of Southampton. So I think that's why they have not lost a game at St. Mary's ever since that new manager came in.
They'll fancy it. They will go into that game fancying it, because they'll look at us. They'll look at the defeat in the Carabao Cup final. They go, okay, yeah, that's a idea that we can do, and
real
they're
quick
going to give us problems.
Real quick to this point with what Luca's saying here. Here's the problem. I don't want him to return earlier than the original timeline, because that means these guys are playing hurt.
That's been the problem. That's been the problem for like a year.
You're being rushed back, and again, this is what people need to realize. You can't sit here, spend $1 billion, win 1 league title, and then go another 3-4 seasons without winning again. You can't fucking do that. I'm sorry. You have to look at the overall marathon, not the fucking sprint. At this current point in time, this season is a sprint with where we're at. We also have to consider what's going to happen next season. I don't want Arteta rushing anybody back if that means that come into next season, they could all potentially drop within the first 7-8 fucking games. And then we're like Liverpool the year after they won the league title in COVID, where they were shit for majority of the season, then made a charge and got lucky that the rest of the teams were garbage and found their way into 4th on the last day. I'm not trying to do none of that shit. I'm not trying to do that. Not after
we don't need to worry, Gianni. Martin Keown says we're going to dominate for 10 years if we win this title.
Martin Keown's been hit too many fucking times.
Yeah, exactly. I also think that little episode where he, screamed bloody murder at Ruud van Nistelrooy has sort of mentally scarred him for life. If you recall, that season he was never the same since. He kept getting 60-second sub appearances just so that he could get a winner's medal for that season. The man was literally past it. And I will say briefly, you know how they say that insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different / better result every time?
Yep.
This is the new form of insanity. Consider this the Thangaderai corollary. Our definition of insanity when it comes to Arsenal is expecting the same fucking idiots who mucked you over time and time again to come and help you out.
Yep.
It is stupid. We will never, ever learn.
Yeah, and also another thing as well, Suj put out a comment early on about Positive Dan saying, oh, the quad is still on. Spurs getting relegated is a trophy. Like,
Oh!
yeah, like Suj put out a comment about Positive Dan early on today saying, oh, the quad is still on for Arsenal. Tottenham getting relegated will be a trophy. I hate every single one of these. Not you guys in here, but the guys like Positive Dan, Egal, all these guys that come out with this bullshit saying that the quad is still on for us. I'm happy we're 9 points clear at the top, but don't get gassed up by the fact that we've still got a lot of games to play, and those games can defy whether or not we win the Premier League or not, because I am not confident with those games in the Premier League, especially the Southampton game and the Sporting game, because those games are the crunch games for us guys. The Bournemouth game, I still have nightmares from that reverse game when they beat us at the Emirates. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
The first time they beat us at the Emirates, and also Bournemouth have never beaten us back to back in the Premier League. Can you imagine
last
that?
season? Yeah.
Yeah, this was a shock to any of us. And also to top it all off, we've got West Ham next. And West Ham are not fighting for Europe. They're fighting to stay in the Premier League. And if we fuck around against these guys, then one way or another, West Ham could take advantage. And once they beat us, they're safe. And if they do beat us, then Tottenham, whether or not, like if they do beat us, then Tottenham, I can see them going down and to the Championship.
I think Tottenham's going down.
Yeah, I think so too, Gianni. And then after that, we've got Man City next. And that for me is the most scariest game of them all. And Man City will be fired up because now that their hands are rubbed up from their League Cup win, they're going to be up for it now, because they are just going to wait for the right moment to strike at us. From one mistake from our players, then that's it. Man City will then take advantage and they will just go for it, because this is who Man City are. I understand that this season has not been a great season for them, but that League Cup success has really galvanized them. So for me, I'm just worried now, Gianni.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. To this question that Suj put in, if we don't sign any players but sack Arteta, is that a good summer window? No, because he's ransacked the rest of our players. There's legitimate here. The closest thing to a 10 out of 10 summer window for Arsenal is you sack Arteta and you get rid of about 10 players.
Yeah.
And you replace them with about 7. And you give Max Dallman, Ethan Wanyeri, and Lewis Skelly a lot of minutes next year, because you're going to need fresh legs in the side to be able to handle the amount of games again. Because whether we win the league or not, we're still going to be playing the same amount of games next year. We're still going to be playing the 8 games in the Champions League, and then most likely qualifying out of the group stage. Whether we qualify to where we skip the 2 extra games in the knockout rounds is either here nor there. But at the end of the day, the situation is what it is. So no, for me, that's not enough to just get rid of them, because the damage has been done on the players.
Well, it could be potentially a massive problem, because a new manager could come in, and then we got the stadium extension happening, which will potentially reduce funds. So new manager could be coming into a massively injury hit squad with not many funds to rejuvenate it.
Correct.
This could be like a real recipe for disaster. And then to have this conversation after 6 years of this guy with this much money spent, to be saying that we need to get rid of so many players. Like, you want to talk about define mismanagement? I mean, and people want to tell us that this is absolutely genius. I woke up this morning and I started to see stuff online about how, thankfully, I spoke to Shane and he was saying it's just a rumor, but there was something going on online on X mainly about how we were going to offer him a new contract and how it was sort of in the pipeline to offer him a new contract and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh my God, please don't do this. Please don't do this. I mean, how could they really announce a new contract before the end of the season? I don't think that's going to happen anyway. But I mean,
I do. I guarantee you, if Manchester City lose to Chelsea and we beat Bournemouth and we go 12 clear with the game in hand, they're announcing it. Guarantee it's happening. Guarantee it's happening. Big up Rich every time.
Well, we do play Bournemouth first. So, like, we play Bournemouth at 12:30 on the Saturday. Then I think City have Chelsea on the Sunday.
Yep.
So we could be 12 points ahead, which will be interesting for the Chelsea game for Man City to see how they cope
Man City
with that.
will destroy Chelsea because Chelsea are dusted now because
I mean,
that defeat to Everton has really shown exactly like who Chelsea are as a football club, because they always appoint the wrong manager. The same with Tottenham. They appointed Igor Chota, and now they have to pay the price for it. And now things are getting even worse for them because now they're going to get Zerbi. And do you really think Zerbi is going to save Tottenham? Hell no. If Tottenham was such a smart club, they would go and get a manager that knows something about keeping clubs in the Premier League. Take Sam Allardyce, for example. Would Tottenham take Sam Allardyce?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it matters. I honestly don't think it matters who they get as a manager. I don't give a fuck if it's Sam Allardyce or Sean Dyche, if I'm being quite honest with you. For me, at the end of the day, the problem is that those players don't give a fuck about being Spurs to be Spurs players anymore. They just don't.
And also, they have some horrible games coming up, by the way, Spurs. They've got like Sunderland away, Brighton at home. They go away to Wolves. They got away at Villa. They've got away to Chelsea. And then they finish at home to Everton. I mean, they got some.
Who are all playing for different European spots right now. That's what I'm saying. The Spurs has to do the unthinkable in order for it to happen. That's why I said, if Zerbi, just to really quick say with Zerbi, if you get a $12 million contract for Spurs, okay, I hear that you got to take it because of the amount of money, if that's what you're into. But if you're willing to risk your coaching credibility in that, then that's on you. That kind of shows that you're in it for the money for me, because his stock is very high as a young manager, and I don't think there should be any reason why you're looking at Spurs in the first place. They're not going to back you, whether you like it or not. They're not going to back you, and they're not a for real team. They're just not a for real team. If they were a for real team, they would have thrown money out to better players and to better managers that they were looking at. I mean, Thomas Frank was a fucking joke. Let's just be honest here. I don't give a fuck what Thomas Frank did at Brentford. You don't go, if you're trying to be one of these teams to take advantage of being a Big Six team, if you're trying to actually make a step forward, you don't go and hire Thomas Frank. I said it on one of shout out to Aaron on Aaron Talks Arsenal's live streams when he was doing his call-in show. I said it. I said Thomas Frank's the first manager from the big teams that's going to get sacked. He's going to be the first one to get sacked. Now, obviously, Man United went ahead with that one, but I said Frank wasn't lasting the whole season. Thomas Frank wasn't a good manager, Amikel. I'm sorry. He wasn't.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. To me, he was just a Danish Graham Potter. And I called it too, Johnny. I said, maybe not so much in sacking, but I did say.
I wouldn't even call him Graham Potter, because I don't think his football. Listen, Graham Potter at the end of the day played some decent shit with Brighton. He made what he had worked. The thing with Frank to me is, I think Thomas Frank is just another fucking guy who got lucky that he could set up and counterattack and had decent pacey strikers that could actually put the ball away. Besides that, his football wasn't nothing great to look at. His shit wasn't that great.
And the worst part about it, Johnny, is that, what sort of a club, and not far be it from me to offer any sympathy to, Spurs players or managers. I mean, look, my brother-in-law is a diehard Spurs fan. I've got some good friends who are Spurs fans, including a few content creators here on YouTube who I know quite well. I'm really good mates with them. To have the audacity to sack a manager who helped you win a trophy, and not just a two-penny halfpenny domestic cup, mind you, but the club's first European trophy in over 40 years, which gets you Champions League football, which gets you a wonderful cash windfall. And yes, Carl, Ruthless Gooner, lovely to see you back. And those shades, brother, you are looking good.
Yeah, great to have you back.
But long time no see, lads. I was going to say thank you. Thank you for having me, Johnny. Much appreciated, buff.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, despite all of the crap that happened that season, there were some poor injuries. And yes, he also didn't do himself favors in certain games, but he had a vision to try to make sure that he could salvage that poor season by, winning a trophy, which is what, ironically, the club wanted to do. And he also had the players right behind him who were willing to, believe in him. Now, I get the point that maybe the club felt as though they didn't want to have another Erik ten Hag situation where, they backed the manager after he won a trophy, based on the endorphins and the euphoria, but it didn't quite work out. But if you wanted to sack him after winning that trophy, you hire a much better manager who will, at the very least, be committed to continuing the work that he started, in a way, and to try to help you achieve your objective. There was no way that Spurs were being serious about hiring, achieving their aims by hiring Thomas Frank in any way. I knew then that they had completely lost the plot. But that decision to sack the big Aussie ended up turning a lot of the players against the regime. I think even the fans also saw that the momentum was, destroyed in many ways. It's not going to be like if we sack Arteta, even if he does win the league, because first of all, he's not going anywhere if he wins the league. But if we do sack him after we win the league, there are some reasons, because it's been 6 years of, decay, and the squad does need a bit of refreshment, and we will end up, getting a better manager who would be able to take us further. But 2 years into that project, in the previous season, he finished 5th. I mean, what I will say right now with Spurs is that I don't want to see them go down. But a few people have said to me that where they are right now is a culmination of many stupid decisions, most of which were business related and not sport related. You can try to talk about how you want to earn. You can try to talk as much as you want about revenue creation and trying to expand your business horizons in many ways. But my friend told me that at the end of the day, the sport is your business. If you're failing at the sport, then that's going to lead to the business failing in and of itself. And so people are going to talk about how the stadium can host NFL games and music concerts. Believe me, there is no way that these big organizations are going to want anything to do with a championship club, no matter how supposedly rich they may be. It's ridiculous. And we could see another failed business taking place.
Here's the problem. First of all, the money that they generate from the stadium doesn't have shit to do with their overall finances, because, again, how money is set up in football is strictly about what you're making as a club, not for what you're making as far as outside money with your concerts and everything else. That don't do shit for them. So the fact that they're even making that argument shows them that they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. FFP and PSR is very easy to read, number one. Number two, it's all football decisions. Again, the situation with Tottenham stems back to their stupidity of signing Lo Celso and Ndombele and trying to play them in different positions, wasting the amount of money that they did. And it exposes that not only was the hype around Mauricio Pochettino false, because he's a dumb fuck as a manager to begin with, and nobody seemed to want to correct it afterwards. Giovanni Lo Celso, you paid near $60 million for this motherfucker, all when he's a winger. He was a winger, secondary striker, a false nine, or a number 10. You bought 2 number 10s. Dele Alli was arguably top 5 best number 10s in the world at that point when they signed these guys, because he was on fire with Spurs while he was there. I mean, you have to give credit where credit's due. Ali was a fantastic player for 2.5 seasons for Spurs. However, they tried making Giovanni Lo Celso a number 8 when he never played that position. That's on Pochettino for being a fucking idiot, because Eriksen was an 8. He moved him out to the right wing, and then he never moved him back and thought Eriksen in a winger position was better than Lo Celso, who had been ripping up PSG and La Liga as both a winger and a false 9. So that automatically was a waste of money to sign him. Then you go get Ndombele for a crazy amount of money, and then after a season, you're already trying to set this guy out on loan. So you wasted nearly $100 million for a club that don't spend money like that on players. And then look at the amount of stupid money that they've spent since. Tottenham has spent nearly 170 million on Dominic Solanke, Giovanni Lo Celso, and Ndombele. That tells you all you need to know about that fucking club.
Exactly. Fools and their money are easily parted every single time.
And not only that, but look at the guy who they hired. They hired Fabio Paratici, who had nothing to fucking do with the dominance of Juventus. That was all Bet Marotta who set that up. Paratici, if anything, is the guy that was part of the problem with cooking the books for Juventus. On top of that, making these crazy signings of looking to sign people for free, but handing them stupid fucking wages. This is the same idiot that gave Aaron Ramsey nearly 300,000 euros a week when he was injury prone at Juventus. And Juventus is in the situation that they're in with all their financial problems. So at the end of the day, he is an idiot. They signed nothing but bad stuff, which has led them to where they're at. Now, Ange Postecoglou, I'd have still sacked his ass because of what he did in the league. I don't give a fuck if you won that league trophy. Again, if you're going to be a big club, be a big fucking club, but go and hire a proper manager. Again, Roberto Mancini was wide open for them to go sign him. Mancini's a better manager than anybody that they've had in God knows how long. In God knows how long, he's a better manager than anybody that there's there. There's other managers that were available. You could have called up Marco Rosa. If you were going to play defensive football, like they were preaching that Thomas Frank was going to do, Marco Rosa had RB Leipzig for 4 years in constant European competitions, pulling upsets in games in Europe, and won 2 trophies at RB Leipzig. So I'd rather...
Or even Oliver Glasner. Oliver Glasner could have been attracted.
Exactly my point. That's what shows that Tottenham is not a big fucking club, because they tried to cheap their way out once again, which is what they've been doing with their motto of the low salaries and everything else. So at the end of the day, they should have went and looked for an actual proper fucking manager, not cheaping their way out, which is why they're in here now. Because let's honestly talk about this. And I like Roberto De Zerbi, but what the fuck has he done to earn 12 million pounds a season as a manager for a contract? He don't deserve 12 million pounds. Listen, I love to see my Italians eating. Go rob them if you want. If you were in for the money, De Zerbi, go rob them. Go finesse Tottenham for money. But in all honesty, you don't deserve no fucking 12 million. Just like Arteta don't deserve 15 million. Neither one of these guys deserve that crazy amount of money. That's just absolutely nonsense. But for Spurs, that's that. Carl, big up, my guy. Welcome back onto the show. What do you make of all this shit with these fucking injuries? Because you got guys out here that are talking about Arteta is the king of the dark arts now, which is fucking hilarious because he ain't. Number one. Number two, why? They're already starting to show that they're going to use injuries again as an excuse to keep this manager here if we bottle it. You already see it happening now that the wheels are turning to blame injuries for why Arsenal may not get over the line. How can they be this blind when last year they said that they took the words of Arteta and said we were too thin going into the season, specifically right after we bottled the 2-0 lead against Villa was when that all started, when they were talking about injuries, because it was, again, another famed game where Thomas Partey was put it right back because that worked so well every fucking time it happened. But they started talking about injuries then. We come into the summer, we drop $250 million, if not more, to make this team even bigger, and we're still having the same problems. When are they going to just admit that the manager is the fucking problem?
When it all goes tits up at the end of the season. That's what you like to...
I don't think they will. I guarantee. I'm already seeing guys that are already saying, "Oh, the injuries." Because this is, and the reason why I say this, I'm sorry to cut over you, but you're already hearing people say that if Arteta wins the Premier League with this amount of injuries, that's self-inflicted. He's going to instantly have to be considered a top 5 greatest Premier League manager of all time. And if that's the word that they're already saying now, if he wins, if he doesn't win, they're going to blame it again. And I see them trying to use that as the PR to keep him.
Well, remember, mate, he's only after this year. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. I don't believe these so-called journalists, so they use the term journalists very, very loosely, that he's getting this new 20 million a year, 6-year contract. I'm like, I don't know who put that. I don't know who brought up that pie in the sky theme, but that ain't happening for any month or Sundays. But with regard to the injuries, take you back to last year, mate. 'Cause it started off last year.
Yep.
Odegaard went on international duty for Norway.
Yep.
The coach sent him back. He said, "Nope, you're not fit. You got an injury. I'm putting you back on the plane. You're going back to Arsenal."
Mm-hmm.
And this is a regular occurrence that keeps happening. It's happened to England with Rice and Saka. Well, we knew Saka would, because obviously his hamstring has been figured surgically put back on the bone, for Christ's sake. You know, you got Calafiori with the injury. You got Hincapié has apparently got injuries now.
Hamstring
injury. Yeah. How ironic. Why is it always a hamstring or a knee injury?
Yep.
Why is it always that? But anyway, you know, at some point it's going to bite on the ass in the long run, in the short term. Now, you can't just keep running the players out all the time. The whole point of rotating your squad is that you don't get these sorts of injuries. This is why you have got Max Dowman available. This is why, if you weren't such a big-headed idiot and you didn't freaking send Ethan and Wembley out on loan to Marseille, who is absolutely balling out for them right now.
He walks back into this team.
He was back into the team, no problem.
Brother, Emil Smith-Rowe walks back in. Emil Smith-Rowe walks back into the left wing or the number 10 position right now. Yeah. His talent ID on the youth is dog shit.
MLS will walk back into the squad. And here, this is what you mean by rotation. How much did we pay for Christian Norgard?
12, I think.
10, 12 million, something like that. I've got some figures for you here. I was going to do it on my show, but since I'm now getting high rate, I might as well do it here and now. So out of all the games we've played so far, Christian Norgard has missed 4 games due to injury, right? He has made 8 starts all season. 3 in the Champions League, 3 in the League Cup, and obviously 2 in the FA Cup. He didn't play in the 2 semi-finals in the League Cup against Chelsea because obviously they started to put their stronger squad out at that point, right? In the Premier League, he's made 0 starts and he's contributed less than an hour off the bench. And we paid 10 million for this guy. You might as well have freaking not signed him at all. Put it towards, maybe getting, instead of getting freaking Madueke and Norgard, you could have not bought them, put the money together. Maybe we've got Kvaratskhelia with a little bit more money. He was about 65 million going into PSG.
Yes.
So you might as well have put the money on then and move Miles Lewis-Skelly into the midfield, which is his actual position.
Yep.
It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science to work this out, okay? Rotating your squad. Mosquera. You bought Mosquera so you could rotate your centre-halves. We've barely seen Mosquera play. And when we have seen Ray, it's because either Saliba or Gabriel, mostly Saliba, is out of injury.
Yep.
Julian Timber. He's meant to be rotated with Ben White. But Ben White's been flogged like a dead horse. And now Timber's being flogged like a dead horse. So now the right back situation is in a world of mess. Now we're having to put what's that? They'll never, mate. They'll never.
Vara and Julian Alvarez are not coming to Arsenal. Sorry for everybody.
You mean that these players don't want to come and play for Arteta? I thought that these players wanted to come play for him.
Brother, here's how sad this could be.
I thought we were going to cook the summer window. That's what I've been told. We're going to cook the summer window. Everyone's going to get shocked at the rival fans. That's what we've been told.
The biggest team to watch out for this summer is Atletico Madrid. They're the biggest team to watch out for in the summer this season. If Diego Simeone leaves and Jurgen Klopp does sign on for Atletico and these new owners are going to spend some money, Atletico Madrid's the team to watch out for in the summer this year because that is exactly the reason why, for me, I don't see Julian Alvarez coming to Arsenal. First of all, I don't want Julian Alvarez coming to Arsenal just out of principle. How the fuck are you going to pay 160 million between Julian Alvarez and Gyökeres and have one of them on the bench? And then you're talking about dropping another 100 million for Vara. Vara ain't coming. Vara left Napoli because he didn't want to stay with Antonio Conte's style of play, which is more defensive. And Conte is 10 times more decorated as a manager than fucking Arteta is. He ain't coming here. Not happening. Go ahead, Paul. Sorry about that.
No chance, mate. At the end of the day, we're stuck in this quagmire now of all these injuries. And the rotation is just or the lack of it is just absolutely embarrassing. Yep. And I think before I went live on my channel for the first time, I was listening to Gudis Therapy. I don't know who this Burke Anton is, but he basically said he said that he doesn't want Max Dowman playing for I don't think he said for the rest of the season, but he doesn't want them playing on a regular basis. I'm thinking to myself, bro, he's the only fucking player in this squad right now who can make people stand up out of their wheelchairs.
What?
He is that. He is, yeah.
He's the
He's
reason
the-
we're
you
9
don't want
points ahead.
Donovan
He's the,
playing for the rest of the
he's the
season.
reason our performances actually go up a few levels.
Wait, he legitimately said he doesn't want Dowman to
On a regular basis.
who the fuck else you gonna put there?
The
Oh,
most talented player probably at Arsenal attack-wise.
Havertz.
He doesn't want him to play on a regular basis.
He's by
Yeah, but-
far the most technically, he's the best player that we have. He's the best player that we have. He said no
Darren Martin
He
just
said
put
that
part on
he
the chat.
said
He
no
said down
down
to
until
18. He
18.
exactly
Brother,
said that. Darren.
Brother,
Thank
you're
you for that.
smoking fucking crack. You're smoking fucking crack. You don't want Dowman playing until 18. Yeah, you know why he doesn't want Dowman to play until 18? Because Dowman shows that this manager's a fucking moron. That you spent £1 billion and you're waiting for a 16-year-old to bail you out. You're a fucking idiot. That's the reason why you don't want it there. Because all them guys, all they do is gulp and burp whatever Arteta says. Fucking ridiculous.
It's
That's
stupid.
fucking ridiculous.
It's stupid, bro. Dowman's, I bet, Dowman currently, you could say pound for pound right now, he is our most technically skilled and best player. Right now. Who else is taking on their man, winning duels and actually making everyone else look silly? There's
He's the
no
only
one, but
one.
he's the only one right now. But people don't want him to play because, he'll get too big for his boots, this, that, and the other. He won't be. Well, he might and he might not. But that's why his parents are taking a course in to become his agents, because they
Besides
know
the
that
parents, it's
the
the job
first
of
sign
the
of trouble,
manager.
they're getting him out of there. The first
That's
sign
also the
trouble, they're
job of
getting
the
him out there.
manager, though. That's also the job of the manager to harness and get the best out of the youth so he learns to be a better player for the foreseeable future. How the fuck? I needed to stop myself because I might have just said something that would have got me canceled.
It's okay, Gianni. Just take your time, man. Just take your time. I mean, I understand it is so frustrating that a 16-year-old is balling out and showing every single one of the senior players on how to play properly. And it's just embarrassing, guys. Like, Max Dowman is our next Lamine Yamal and our next Rayan Cherki, because that's what Lee said in his fan cap. The next Rayan Cherki, but then why wasn't he introduced in the final against Man City? This was our opportunity to start him, but this manager is too predictable because he just wants to use any player he can to help save him from not being embarrassed. But none of the players they didn't even put up a hell of a fight. So that was the opportunity for Dowman to come on. But
Macy, 1 second. Calcio, listen, you're a Juventus fan. You wouldn't tolerate what Arteta's pulled at Arsenal at Juventus. If you guys had $1 billion, €1 billion to give Arteta and you haven't won a single trophy in 6 years, you wouldn't even given him 6 years. You guys would have ran him out of the club within the first year or the second year. It ain't close. No, this is why we are Arteta out. Because again, the standards of this club need to raise, and the standards of the fucking positive fans need to wake the fuck up.
yeah,
Again, like I just pulled up here on Capology. Arsenal has the highest average salary for their player out of any team in the fucking Premier League.
134,000 is the average, isn't it? Something along those lines.
No, it's almost £7 million a season. It's the highest average per player across for a salary in the Premier League.
I think that works out roughly what Carl said. I think per week. I think that's roughly the same per week.
Yeah, that's what I mean, per week.
Per week, it's City. City has a higher per week than us. The reason why we have the highest average is because City has way more youth academy kids on the roster to bring the average per week, to bring their average per week, their average salary per year down. They have it higher per week than we do, but we have a higher salary average overall. It's just how they rig it. Because when you look at the amount of guys, City's got like 11, 12 guys on 200,000 pounds or more, where we're at 7.
And this is what I like from Man City, Gianni, because Pep always uses the academy kids when it comes to any cup game, because he started. Do you know Emil Heskey has a son?
Huh?
Yeah, he
He
basically.
has played.
Yeah, and his son was balling out in an FA Cup match against Salford. So big up to this Heskey kid.
But Macy, the key is with that though is again, you
Yeah.
play the youth academy kids for two reasons. One, you play them because you're going to use them for sale. If you're going to go and spend big money on players the way City does, like we've seen with different players. Like, look, City's made close to $500 million just on the youth players that they've sold around England. Look at what they've made on Rodgers. Look at what they made on Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer was $45 million. That's pure profit. They've done that with plenty of players.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, the other side, though, is when you get players that come up from your youth academy to play for your team, they give it more than players that are not from the youth academy because they aid with the identity and the standards of that club. That's why I'm saying overall, the standards of Arsenal need to be raised to the point to what Calcio was saying that we're Arteta out. You have to be. If you're going to be a big club, you can't allow this shit to go on. There's no big club that would allow this to go on. The only big club, and historically they're not one of the big three in Spain. The only club that we would consider a big club that's allowed a manager to stay for a long time is Atletico with Simeone. But Simeone is the most fucking decorated manager they've ever had.
Of course.
He's the most decorated player in the recent instance when he won them La Liga in the 90s.
Yeah.
If Diego Simeone wins the Copa del Rey, he's won every single title twice outside of the Champions League. He's won 2 Europa Leagues. He would have won 2 Copa del Reys. He'd have won 2 La Ligas. And when you consider the situation of the disproportionate of money that goes to Real and Barcelona compared to Atletico, he has earned the right to stay as long as he had at Atletico. In my personal opinion, he's their most historic figure in the entire club, both as a manager and a player. Arteta ain't done fuck all.
Of course. Apart from one FA Cup, he has never ever won a major
Which
trophy.
wasn't his team.
Yeah, that was Emery's team.
Right.
Plus COVID. In the COVID. Yeah, with no fans. But don't worry, guys, because don't forget, when we played Atletico Madrid, they called it the Haram Ball Derby. Apparently, I've been told that Diego Simeone plays Haram Ball.
And also,
speaking of Simeone, to what Carl's point was, you spent $50 million on Noni Madueke. I did this yesterday and forgot to bring this up. Based on the current market right now, 52.5 million pounds is 60 million euros. You could have got, for the price of Noni Madueke, you could have got both Lookman and fucking Cherky for the same exact money that you bought Madueke for.
yeah,
That's how fucking dumb this is.
But this is what I've been saying, Gianni. We never should have gotten Madueke in the first place. Lookman or Elise were available because they're both on free. They were both free as well. We could have gotten those guys, but instead, this dumbass motherfucker manager wanted Madueke. So this is why Arteta is the most, he never understands which player is the best player to represent Arsenal. He always goes and picks one from Chelsea. And this is what I find shocking, Gianni. I'm sick and tired of the fact that this manager believes that he can go to he can get one of these Chelsea leftovers and turn them into top players. This is what I find a bit embarrassing.
Yeah, 100%. Look at if you combine. Look here, Madueke and Havertz is what Havertz was 65 million.
Yeah.
So 117.5 million pounds is just Noni and Havertz combined to what we gave to Chelsea. Who else did we pay for? We bought Kepa from Chelsea. What was Kepa?
5 million. Kepa was 5 million.
Pounds,
okay, so we're at 100. We're at 122.5 million just in the last 2 years to Chelsea.
Yeah.
We paid. How much of a fee did we pay for that fucking bum Raheem Sterling? Because we paid a loan fee for that.
It was a loan move. It's
a loan move, but you still have to pay a fee.
We bought Jorginho for 12 million.
Okay, so we've just piled a pile of shit of a pile of shit.
Did we buy David Luiz for free, or was it like?
Nah, David Luiz was more.
It was like 5 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, 5. But was David Luiz
Would
still?
get
Was he
better.
still?
And David Luiz was before Arteta even came to the
I
club.
was going to say that. Danny. I don't think he was here before. I think it was
Okay,
different
when
so-
one.
David, when
5
Arteta
million.
came in, David Luiz was playing like a proper defender because, like he in the Manchester United game, he and Socrates, like they were commanding that defense against United.
The
So
problem, the
So if you combined, so
problem with
T-Dot
David Luiz
Big
is
just
very
said
Jack
it.
and Hyde. The problem with
We,
David
we
Luiz
had
is
to
very
pay-
Jack
we
and
were
Hyde.
responsible. We were responsible for 5 million of Sterling's wages, and then Jorginho was 10. So all that pile of shit, we've given Chelsea 150 million pounds. Is the amount of money that we've given to Chelsea. First of all, we should never be going to with the rate that Chelsea is right now. There's no player that we should be looking at for Chelsea.
of course not.
There's no unless Reece James magically can prove that he can stay healthy and he doesn't want to be
He's
there.
signed a new contract, hasn't he?
Yeah, he ain't going
Yep.
nowhere because
He ain't going nowhere, and he's done
course
his
not.
hamstring again.
And if he what I was saying is if he could come out today with a crystal ball and say he's not getting injured for the foreseeable future, Reece James is the only person I'm spending money on. I'm not spending. They're going to ask for some outrageous number for Cole Palmer, and Cole Palmer's been dog shit for going on 18 months right now. I'm not looking at Cole Palmer. Don't give a fuck about him. I'm not Gittins, dog shit.
I'm not taking Garnacho as well.
Garnacho.
Yeah,
Garnacho.
never taking
You know, I would
Garnacho,
take
never.
Garnacho to serve food at the Emirates. I wouldn't take him to fucking be on the
Yeah.
field.
But the guy's a scrub.
No,
There's
I
a
wouldn't
reason why
get
you
no.
don't binned him.
No, so Tyrell, no, I'm
way.
not taking Caicedo because you're going to
Nah.
spend
Yeah,
100. You're going to spend
What?
100 million on a defensive midfielder who can't keep his cool and to potentially get a red card in an important game. Fuck no.
We
Caicedo's
should have taken
overrated.
Caicedo when he was at Brighton.
No, he's not worth 100 million.
Oh, okay. Then I'm just
not worth
saying.
100
I'm not trying
million.
to- All right.
I would have
Wait.
taken a chance. I would take a chance on getting somebody else for that rate of money. I would have taken a chance on somebody else for that rate of money. João
Yeah,
Pedro, same thing. No, I'm sorry. No, he's not a striker. He's part of this
Yeah.
false nine
No
shit.
more. I don't want any more Chelsea players at my football club.
We're going to end up getting someone. I'll get, and someone in the chat's already pointed out the name. Like T-Dot has already pointed out already. Mudryk.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
hasn't even
If
played,
I
bro.
take-
The guy
if
I
has
take-
failed his
Well,
test.
If
bro. He's got a test.
Arteta gets his way, that'll be the player he will go after next.
And
Yeah,
not
but-
only that, here you could have got Vitinha for 30 million from
Yeah,
Porto.
Oh, no.
Exactly. We got Fabio
I'd have went and
Vieira.
got him
Horrible.
before I'd have looked at giving fucking Brighton or Chelsea 100 million pounds for Caicedo's sorry ass.
Yep.
Same with oh fuck, I'm missing. We passed on him when he went for free from Milan to Inter. I would have took Shalanoglu over fucking
of course,
Caicedo.
of
I'm
course,
sorry. I'm
yeah.
not these crazy. One thing that needs to stop in football is we need to stop seeing these crazy amounts of money for players that have done okay or good for one season. That's got to stop. That's got to stop. That's got to stop because most players are not living up to that potential. I'm sorry. Me personally, I would take Amadou Onana or Boubacar Kamara over fucking Caicedo any day of the week. Them guys can run the fucking middle, and you don't have to worry about them fucking you off and getting a red card in an important game and then getting suspended.
Yeah.
Too
I read-
injury prone though, brother. Camera's out for the whole season, and even Amadou Onana can't be trusted with his fitness these days. But I see where you.
But it's also the money here. Like for example, I would have took fucking Tielemans when he was for free. How we didn't pick up Tielemans is mind blowing to me because Tielemans walks into this team at either the 10 or the 8 position. He blows Zubamendi away.
Yeah, but-
He's way better than any number 10 that we got.
And another thing as well, there was one time we were linked with Dusan Vlahovic, Gianni.
Yeah, he sucks too.
Yeah, I don't know who came out with that rumor. It was one of the journalists.
Yeah, no, Vlahovic is fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
Vlahovic is good for 2 months. He'll score crazy amount of goals in 2 months, and then it's barely a goal here, barely a goal there. He's part of the reason why freaking Juve hasn't been in a title run for so long because they don't have a consistent striker. Here, like if I'm here, even though he's not a defensive midfielder, but he could work well with Rice in a double pivot. I'd rather give Juventus 40 to 50 million for Locatelli than go to fucking Chelsea and spend 100 million on Caicedo. I'm sorry. He's been playing out of position the whole time that he's been at Juventus as a number 6. He was never a number 6 at Sassuolo. He was an 8. They've been playing him in the wrong position to why he's been in the situation that he's in. But I'm taking him over Caicedo because, again, Caicedo will risk you. We saw it in the game against us. There was no reason for Caicedo to be that rash against Arsenal and get that fucking red card. And then it showed how shit we were that we wouldn't take the initiative to push forward and try to beat Chelsea for the actual win.
Yeah, like.
But
and that's another reason why I don't want to see any more Chelsea players at the club either, is because they've also, let's not forget, got a dreadful disciplinary record this season. How many red cards have they got? And we want to get
9
these
red cards.
Yeah,
like
9
exactly.
digits.
Even more.
And somehow Arteta has this idea that he can get some of these loose cannons to play for us and somehow turn a corner. Oh, the man's tried for God knows how many years. He's failed. This is insanity.
I blame Kroenke as well, because Kroenke was the sole purpose for bringing this manager in the first place. Would you agree, Manny?
Yes, of course. I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, let's not forget that the majority of people and some stakeholders wanted Arteta to succeed Wenger immediately, but instead Unai Emery ended up coming in. And Unai Emery, of course, was there before the Kroenkes came in. But so you're absolutely right, Macy. It is the Kroenkes' fault.
I'm always right, Annie, because it all goes down to the Kroenkes appointing the wrong manager. Because that summer I wanted Allegri or Ancelotti in the year when Emery got sacked. So Ancelotti or Allegri should have come in, but instead the Kroenkes, they went out and got Pep's cone boy.
Yeah, exactly. And, I call them the Crankies for perfectly good reason.
See, again, I'm not trying to come off like I'm defending the Kroenkes, but again, this is the problem that I have with this whole situation. It's still £1 billion fucking pounds. It shouldn't matter who the manager is. £1 billion should be winning you a fucking trophy.
It should be winning you everything.
Exactly. That's the problem.
Spade. It should be winning you everything.
Again, whoever you would have got as a manager with £1 billion spent behind them, or the amount of money that was pumped in, you still should have won. Like, again, this is the issue that I have with this whole American owners take and everything else, because people say they don't like the American owners, they run it for a business and everything else. Okay, take the American owners out, but what goes along with the American owners that everybody won't say they don't want out is the amount of money that's been pumped into the Premier League. You take the American owners out, the Premier League ain't the biggest league anymore. Sorry, it ain't. The money will go back to either, the money most likely will go to La Liga or potentially go to Serie A if money's being allowed to get pumped in. So I hear with what you're saying that they're the ones that hired Arteta, and you're 100% correct. The problem is, at the end of the day, is everybody needs to realize that if you're a business person, everybody understands the move. You sign Arteta, pump in $1 billion over a few years to keep fans happy. Majority of the fans, have we seen, because they've actually bought into the PR and it works. Because if you're a business person, you're going to look after what makes you more money. Arsenal's never going to make more money than the Rams. Premier League will never make more money than the NFL. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. And that's the reason why I don't get so gung-ho about it with them. I blame the board more, which is why I don't want Berta leaving, because we've already seen 7 board members walk out because he's changing the way how everything operated. The board members are part of the problem. How they are running the club while the Kroenkes are in America looking after all their investments over here is a major issue, which is why, for me, Berta has to stay. And thank God Zier, big up to Zier, he came on and said that all those links to Berta going to Bayern Munich is bullshit. So if that's bullshit, that means the only team that we got to worry about him going to is City. And I will be fucking furious if he leaves Arsenal to go to City because we want to be idiots. Then I will 100% say, yes, the Kroenkes are the biggest freaking problem. But if Berta stays behind and he gets us actually playing the proper way with how everything's being ran, then I have no issue with the Kroenkes for that.
But the other thing is, Gianni, that let's not forget that they made it crystal clear that they didn't want to, buy Arsenal with the hope of winning trophies with us. And it is quite clear as day that they have been running this club more or less like a glorified hedge fund. And which have been the more successful owners in the Premiership in years gone by? It's the Arab owners. They're the ones who, not only buy teams and end up winning things, but they also seem to have an idea of how they want to spend their money. I mean, Newcastle may be an exception to the rule, but if they get a more sensible manager to replace Eddie Howe, I bet you they're going to start consistently challenging. They're not going to have seasons where they overachieve and then, next season they end up, suffering. They'll become more consistent, mind you. So if there are more Arab owners that are going to come and do this, I think the American owners might end up seeing that their days are numbered. But the Cronkies don't want to sell. Back then, many of us will remember that there was an attempt by, the Spotify head honcho, Daniel Ek, to potentially put in a bid. Now, of course, we all know that Spotify is pretty much, linked up with Barcelona and partially solved some of their financial issues. But just imagine what would have happened if Daniel Ek had, wrested control from, the Crankies, as I call them. Can you just imagine at least conceive how better things would have been?
Well, you're also forgetting another billionaire who is also linked with Dolagonte, the Nigerian billionaire.
Oh. Yeah, a bit too shady for me, mate.
Yeah.
We know all about the Nigerians, I think.
Man,
I'm not being stereotypical.
Anybody who's worth that much money's done illegal shit. I don't give a fuck who they are. To sit there and say that somebody's dirty or somebody's shady, it goes with the territory when you got that much money. You had to do something shady to help add to that money level. Let's not kid ourselves. And the thing is with the Arab owners, yes, I hear you with that, with saying that, but the difference is the Arab owners have way more money than the American owners. And here's the thing. If Arab owners were able to buy NFL teams, they wouldn't even be wasting their time with the Premier League. If they were interested in making money, they're walking in with money that they print. The American owners don't. Again, it's a perfect show with what's going on with the Glazers. The Glazers took over Manchester United for a portfolio piece. They've sucked out all the money out of that club to build up the insane stadium that they built for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL and get maximum money in the NFL. That's why they don't give a rat's ass about Manchester United. So I hear you. You are right. Listen, if a sheik came in and bought Arsenal, we probably would be a way better team and probably had several trophies to celebrate with. Mm-hmm. The problem is that the Cronkies ain't going anytime soon, and unless they get an insane amount of offer. Now, this whole talk about, because now there's been links that because Flamini is worth however many billions with his company, is that there's talk that Flamini could potentially buy Arsenal. Listen, it doesn't matter who it is, as long as you run the fucking club correct, we'll be fine. Again, that's why I'm saying with the Cronkies, I'm waiting to see how this season plays out. If he only walks away with, if the only title he walks away with is the FA Cup, sack his ass.
Yep.
And as soon as you sack his ass, whoever the next manager is, you make it abundantly clear that Bert's is running the show and we are operating like the rest of the big clubs around Europe, and you have 2 seasons. Don't care what the situation is with the squad unless an incredible situation pans out to where we have to get rid of 10 players, which we do either way. But I still think a new manager who actually knows how to rotate could get this team over the line than this fucking bum. So maybe give him the first guy 3 years. But besides that, fuck that. Sack his ass, somebody comes in, you get 2 years, 3rd year option, depending on how good you are. And besides that, we're not dealing with people no more. We can't keep taking in inexperienced managers, because now you got these idiots already talking about, oh, let's look at Iriola at Bournemouth. I don't want that motherfucker anywhere near Arsenal. Don't want him anywhere near Arsenal. He don't deserve the Arsenal job. Go to fucking
he's a fine manager. I could see him potentially replacing Unai Emery at Aston Villa or maybe another mid-table club. But Arsenal
or Newcastle. But go prove your worth at one of those clubs before you come to us. We should not be going down this fucking problem anymore.
Well, this is the thing. It's like, have we not learned? Like, how much evidence do we need to sort of learn that, okay, we actually need to have an experienced winner? But it should just be a standard thing. I don't know where it's just sort of maybe more modern times. Things have changed in terms of attitudes, in terms of like a top club like Arsenal has to have an experienced older head who's won things, who's been there and done that. We can't be taking these risks. But from the Kroenke's perspective, in terms of the profit, in terms of the money, it's being used as a cash cow, of course, and I think they're perfectly happy in terms of the finances. So they I don't think they see a particular reason from a financial perspective to sack Arteta. And we know that this is their main kind of thought process. And I thought maybe it would change because of the Josh Kroenke coming and becoming more involved. Remember back in the day, sort of back in the day, Van Persie left because he went and met the ownership, and they were talking about how they were talking about facts and figures rather than trophies, and that put him off. Understandably, then he went and won a title. So I don't know whether that still pervades now. Is Josh a bit different? I mean, I guess we're going to find out if we don't win anything this season how they react. So we just have to see how it goes in the next few weeks, I suppose, to see where their actual stance is, because they should surely be getting. They've got mates who are also big owners and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, surely at some point their reputation is on the line that they've got this manager they're paying 15 million quid a year to, yet he's not doing it. He's not winning anything. Surely at some point.
I'm pretty sure in the NFL owners meeting, I'm pretty sure that gets brought up. I'm pretty sure that my CEO Robert Kraft is taking the piss out of Kroenke. I am pretty sure about that.
100, and not only that, Josh is probably catching shit from his dad, whether we want to believe it or not, because every fucking team they own has won. Every team here's the only reason why I still am not 100%. Here's the only reason why I'm giving them somewhat of the benefit of the doubt. The way they have gone about handling Arsenal is the same way they've gone about with all their teams. They straightened up the stadium for the Avalanche. They won with the Avalanche. They straightened up everything with how books were being ran and everything at the Denver Nuggets. They won with the Denver Nuggets. They did the same thing with the LA Rams when they moved them out of St. Louis into LA. So that's the reason why at the end of the day, that's why I have faith that these guys bringing in Berta are taking it much more serious now going forward to go on and win. Again, I stand by it. The Kroenkes put £1 billion together for us to spend to keep everybody happy and quiet, or majority of the fans happy and quiet about what's going on, because they did have bigger fish to fry with the situation with the NFL team with the Rams because of how much more money they bring in than Arsenal. That's just a fact at the end of the day. And for me, that's the only reason why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Now, if we win the Premier League, Berta walks and they give 100% control to Arteta, similar to what they gave to Arsene Wenger, then yes, I'm with everybody. Get these motherfuckers out of the club. 100%. By any means necessary, get them out of the club. But until I see that come to full fruition, like I said, the fact that they went out and got Berta tells me that things are going to be changed on how things are run here. And we've even saw it with the transfers. He went out and got Gyökeres. He didn't want him. He did not want Gyökeres. He didn't want Eze. The fact that Berta's having the foresight to sign players for the future, not just with the here and now with this manager, tells me that everything's changing. Plus the fact that many board members have walked out. That's the other. You ain't never seen this many board members walk out at a single time at this club. Never. If ever, we've never seen 7 or 8 board members walk out of this club. So that to me is the reason why I'm looking at it as a whole from there. For me, the manager is the biggest problem. Because here's the same thing that we could say. Whatever happens, right? Whatever happens, it doesn't matter if it was a different owner, different board, or different sporting director. If the manager was still given this same amount of money and refuses to rotate and cause all these injury problems for this club, it doesn't matter who the higher ups are. The manager is still the problem at the end of the day for the day-to-day running of the club. That's just what it is at the end of the day. That's just what it is, which is why he's got to go. Because I know all you guys, they're not winning the Champions League. That ain't happening. So the Champions League we can already write off. Do you guys think in a final or in a semifinal, if we run into Manchester City, that we're beating City again?
No. And I tell you, I've made this reference already, Johnny. City, us to Manchester City is what the Buffalo Bills are to Kansas City. When the chips are down, they can't beat them.
Exactly.
They cannot beat them. So, if we win the FA Cup, sweet, but we'll have to do it at Man City's expense. That's the only way we're going to be able to do it.
Or
We've got enough in big pressure games.
Liverpool's expense, and we haven't put a goal. Funny enough, us and Aston Villa are the only two teams that haven't scored on Liverpool.
Oh, it's shocking.
Yeah.
We're bad enough at big pressure games as it is, let alone a big pressure game against a Man City or a Barcelona or a Bayern or someone like this. I mean, it's not going to happen, is it, unfortunately? And yet here we are after 6 years and 1 billion spent, told that we've got a genius in charge who should, in no uncertain terms, remain in charge just as long as we're competing. As long as we're competing is what we're told. That's everything is fine, because these fans are cowards like the manager. They just take after the manager.
Exactly.
And the thing about that FA Cup win is that, that answers your question. We have done it before, and Arteta was the manager. But the sad fact is that the players that he had then, and I think we've discussed this, Gianni, and I'm sure you'll agree, there are at least 5 or 6 players in that FA Cup team of 2020 that would literally walk back into this team right now at the expense of some of these more overhyped players. You think of Aubameyang, you think of Pepe, you definitely consider Emiliano Martinez, maybe a few others like Kieran Tierney, definitely. We had a different team with a different mentality. Now I think we're just a bunch of fluff boys in a way.
Pussies.
Yeah, I love that.
Pussies, you could say it.
Yeah.
You could call us the Candy Floss boys if you like.
Listen, Guendouzi walks back into this team.
Yeah.
We quit on Guendouzi too early. Guendouzi left, went to Marseille, played well, went to Italy, turned into one of the best midfielders in Italy.
Kieran Tierney starts at left back all day long for us.
100%.
I mentioned Kieran Tierney, Macy.
100% he does.
Nicolas Pepe as well starts on the right wing ahead of Bukayo Saka because he's been in better form than most of our wingers. Saka's been pony this season.
Form, he's flat out better. He's flat out better than Saka. I'm sorry. The problem is look at how Pepe's playing at Villarreal, where he's able to go intermixed of not only being the striker or the winger, plus being more central. Again, you saw the problems from the get-go with Arteta trying to play these touchline fucking wingers with guys that don't play that way. That's where you're seeing the issues with these guys right now. If you got before Saka's injury last season, if you got rid of the manager and you got a manager in that knew how to play offensive football and told Saka, you're staying further up the pitch, you don't need to come back as much. One of the other side winger, you could make it Trossard. You don't have to come back as far, but come back just a little bit. And the striker does whatever type of work he can in the middle, but you stay up the pitch as well. We wouldn't be having these goal-scoring fucking problems that we have right now. Yes, everyone, we still scored some of the most goals in the Premier League along with City. Brother, have you seen the way that we're scoring goals?
Yeah.
Isn't
Also,
half of our goals
this season are against 3 teams? A fifth of our goals this season are against 3 teams. Last season, I think it was about a quarter of our goals were against 3 teams. So it's a little bit misleading. And then on top of that, you add in the goals that are scored from set pieces or relied on.
I was just going to say, how many goals out of all the goals we scored are set pieces or own goals? Combined own goals and set pieces.
This is why we talk about sustainability. And we're going to, like I say, we're going to find out in the next few weeks how sustainable this is when it comes to the crunch.
Hold on, because I'm here for the bullshit.
Well, look, the Grimfall said Pepe has 3 goals and 4 assists this season. Why do you chat so much shit?
Which he's lying about because he has 5 goals and 4 assists. So you're already wrong with that. And because Saka's on £300,000 a week and barely has more than he does. That's why. Sorry, Nicolas Pepe has a Villarreal team in 3rd place over Atletico Madrid. They're overachieving.
Yeah.
And he's done well for them for 2 seasons.
And they lost their best creative asset in, is it Baliba? Didn't they lose Baliba in the summer?
Yeah.
We could have got him as well, by the way. We could have got Baliba as well to play in the team.
They also lost Jeremy Pino. They also lost Baena.
Yeah, to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah. So what are we doing here? We're chatting shit. No, he has 5 goals in here, actually. So he is 9 GA, since you guys love to do 9 GA. He is 9 GA. He is 10 GA. He has 10 GA in 36 games. Let's go to Bukayo Saka.
Grim, explain why Tierney isn't better than Calafiori as a left back, as an actual left back. Please explain.
Tierney can actually cross the ball. Calafiori can't.
Yeah, but you hear a lot of fan base are saying, "Oh, but Tierney's injury prone." Well, Tierney wasn't like.
Calafiori.
Yeah, but Calafiori gets injured all the time.
And I think he got a little knee knock. Isn't that right, Gian? He's picked up a little knee injury.
So
He's
here,
still out. He's still
Bukayo
injured.
Saka's got 15 GA in 40 games, and he's getting paid £300,000 a week. Sorry, not good enough. Not good enough.
Embarrassing.
Tierney's not better than Calafiori, brother.
Not even close.
Brother, first of all, explain this then. If Calafiori's so good, why did Bologna win without him?
Yeah.
Exactly. Bologna don't need Calafiori because they knew he wasn't good enough, so they got rid of his ass.
Calafiori was the difference of 6 points. That's all it was.
Was then this not the same Calafiori that scored the own goal for Italy the
Here we
Euros
go.
against Spain?
Oh god, he's a GA merchant. Here we go.
Yeah, he is a GA.
No,
I
exactly.
think this is the same Calafiori that came out in his press conference and said that he wishes to go back to Italy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking about guys that don't even want to be at the club. The guy said that he has unfinished business at Rome. Sorry. You don't deserve to be here if you come out and say stupid shit like that. Same reason why Zubamendi should get shipped off, because this idiot's talking about he's still open to going back to Spain after one season in England. Sorry. If you want to keep handing out money, to morons that don't want to be here, fine, do you. But we'll run into the same fucking problem that Juventus has ran into, where we keep fucking up money. So, sorry.
And Jesus even came out to the whole world and said that he can't score goals from open play. And also, he even said that it's his dream to represent Brazil in the World Cup. Bro, you're not going to the World Cup. You're just going to go there as a spectator.
Yeah.
You got a striker on 265k a week who says he can't score goals. I mean,
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
He's not the Messiah, just a very naughty
These players coming out to in their press conferences chatting shit. Like, why are they coming out? Just like, I don't know who is telling them to say all this bullshit.
First of all, Tierney went back to Celtic because he's Scottish.
Yeah, and of course, Tierney,
because that's his club number one. Secondly, here's a great thing for you to know, because these are actual facts. Tierney was in an Arsenal jersey for 5 years, only at 192 days injured. Calafiori hasn't been here for a solid 2 seasons. He has over 225 days injured. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, and also another thing as well, Tierney grew up at Celtic. When
Exactly.
Brendan Rodgers first brought him into the first team, and now this season he's gone back to Celtic to reunite with Rodgers. But
Where does Saka has 18 goals and 14 assists in all comps? No, he doesn't. I'm looking at his stats right now.
Wait,
because this season he's got 9 goals and 7 assists in all comps for us.
Exactly. He has 16 GAs.
I'm looking this up now.
Sorry.
He's the same guy that appeared on Jez's show, by the way.
Who?
Saka Laka something. The guy that he appeared on Jez's show earlier today. And he was chatting shit to
Brother,
Jez.
the stats that you're putting up are false. Saka doesn't have 18 goals and 14 assists in all comps.
Yeah, this
So here is his stats so far. The 25-26 season, 27 matches, 6 goals, 4 assists. Hold that.
Exactly. Sorry for that.
Yeah.
Joseph Tyrell's classic. By the way, I had a date with Shakira yesterday, seeing as we're lying.
same as my date with Zendaya. Went really well.
Fucking classic. Fucking classic.
Rob, you know you could have done a lot better than Zendaya.
Tom Holland has the same birthday as me. She picked the wrong June 1st baby.
I mean,
but so what?
I can't wait to see Tom Holland's new Spider-Man movie. So hopefully this will be.
Yeah. But so what do you? So what are your guys' expectations with this? We've already said the next 4 games in the Premier League are all teams that are challenging for Europe, and obviously City is challenging us for the title.
Mhm.
Do you think that we're going to get through these 4 games with maybe just the only one loss, the only drop game is to City, or do you think these next 4 games could? I think these next 4 games decide the title, if I'm being quite honest with you.
Well, we got Newcastle as well in those games, haven't we? We got Bournemouth,
Hold
City
on
away.
one more time. Yeah, the FA Cup team to come back as a trophy. Your team doesn't.
Come on.
Go ahead, Rob. Sorry, I just needed to get that out. Since we're talking about players who haven't won any fucking thing.
But yeah, the FA Cup team actually won. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't his team, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it was Emery's team.
Exactly.
Funny enough that he spent $1 billion and still can't win a trophy, and you got these top gooners talking about what's Arteta done. He hasn't achieved anything.
Yeah,
how
he
can
was
you,
an average
how can you
player.
be telling me that this manager's a good manager when you've spent $1 billion and still can't win anything?
Yeah,
what are we doing
and even worse, he wasn't a good player for Arsenal, and that is why it all comes down to the fact that he hasn't even accomplished one thing at Arsenal when he was a player apart from the FA Cups that he's won. So he's not a good Arsenal player. He was average.
Johnny, can you check this mutant actually in the chat? This Zed Grim Fool. He's saying when Arteta wins the Prem, what's the excuse going to be?
We'll be happy when he wins the Prem. I'll be down for Park here in the street.
Prove me wrong.
I mean,
There's no
When did it
excuses.
prove me
We just
wrong?
want him
Yeah,
to
but
win
that
the league. That's it. That's what we want. We want trophies. End of.
I know, but it doesn't
When
change.
it prove me wrong? If he doesn't prove me wrong, what's your excuse going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
exactly.
he proves
PGMOL
Here, if he wins
agenda.
it-
We were robbed. PGMOL agenda. We
And
were
just,
robbed.
just,
you're
just
not
to throw this
invited
out,
to-
just
I
throw
don't
this
even
out.
want to go to the parade. And you hear people saying that when Arsenal do win the Premier League, they're gonna say to us, "Oh, you guys aren't invited to the parade." I don't even want to go to the parade anyway with you. So
what's the excuse if he doesn't win? I'll give you my excuse if he wins. You give me your excuse if he doesn't win. We'll play it like that.
yeah,
We'll play it like that. Because I already know what the excuse is going to be. It's going to be injuries.
The only thing that helps Arsenal's cause is the fact they could win the league. And listen, everyone on this panel wants Arsenal to win the Premier League. You know, I've been waiting since I was 13 for us to win the league again, right? Okay. The only thing we got good going for us is the fact we've only lost 3 games this season. City have lost 5. Statistically, since 2005, when Chelsea won the Premier League on 95 points and only 1 loss, the average amount of games you can afford to lose in order to win the league is 4. So by that metric, we should finish off to win the league. But guess what? Guess what, everyone? 22-23 season. We're back in the same quandary again, aren't we?
yeah,
And one chain reaction is all it took for us to start slipping. We slip to Bournemouth, City will have us for slaughter. And that will be the beginning of the end.
And not only that, here's the other funny thing. Here's the other funny thing with that. Arsenal doesn't just drop one game. We drop games in clumps.
yeah.
This isn't Arsenal is not a team over these last few years where they just lose one game and then come right back.
Yeah, of course.
Nah, hold on. Yeah, hang on. Zed Grim, right? It's all right to say we got more wins of the season than in the Invincibles. But the thing is, though, in that same breath, we still haven't won anything. The last time that was...
This is the problem, Carl. They just overhyped irrelevant results.
Hang on, Kawaji, bro. Last time we got even close to that was in the 1970-71 season. We won the cup, didn't we? Oh, okay. So we had something to show for our efforts. If we win nothing this season, you can say all the games we won, all you want. It means absolutely nothing if we don't finish the job. It will mean nothing. It's empty calories. That's all it is.
Brother, if dropped games only means the 4 losses, then why did we lose last year with only 3 losses?
Why did we draw those games then? Is it because of injuries? Was it because of PGMOL?
Draws are dropped games as well. That's why we've dropped 10. Again, I'm not even going to entertain this no more. Not even going to entertain this no more.
Yeah.
But this is the level that we're dealing with. It's kind of like concentrating on wins of games rather than wins of trophies. It's kind of the dopamine hit. This is why people are so obsessed with Arteta and keeping Arteta, because he gives them the same sort of weekly dopamine hits that fans like us get from actually winning trophies at the end of the season. So every week, let's say, for example, like the Man City game we played at home where we're going to lose 1-0. Martinelli gets the 1-1. That dopamine hit for a lot of these fans is as good as a trophy. That's why they want to keep Arteta. That's why they can't countenance getting rid of Arteta, because he's going to potentially they couldn't have all these dopamine.
Hang on. Yeah, I've caught Graham out here. He said we've lost 4 games in all competitions. That might be true, but we're talking about the league. We're not talking about all competitions. We're talking about the actual league.
No, Carl, we lost 5. He already forgot the League Cup. We already bottled the trophy. That's the 5th loss.
Of course.
Yeah.
So,
well, it doesn't matter because we've got bigger fish to fry, Gianni.
Yeah,
so
the League Cup is just a Mickey Mouse, and it's just nothing really. We've got the Premier League. We're gonna win the treble, so let's just hope that we're gonna do it.
Martin Keown saying that we're the best team in the world. Fuck you, Martin Keown. I hate you.
The fact that Martin Keown thinks that we're going to go on a 10-year run of being dominant is fucking hilarious.
Nah, it's embarrassing.
We haven't won anything. How can you call us dominant when we haven't won anything? You have to first win, then talk about us next after winning something. But we haven't won anything. So why are we gassing up this team as if it's the best team in Europe? It's the best team in the world. We've won jack shit anyway. What are we talking about?
Hey, big up Bings. Yeah, and Ian Wright as well. Ian Wright was chatting shit as well that but we're still favorites to win the Premier League, and also he's even doing commercials for Go Compare and Marks and Spencers as well. Like, this guy is just an absolute joke. Like, why is he doing commercials for Marks and Spencers and Go Compare?
And he costs money as well. One of my colleagues, her, I think brother it was, or a friend of hers, they run like a sort of commercial site. They got Ian Wright over to, I think it was Denmark, to film a commercial, and he charged them $100,000.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he got money. He's got money.
Fuck.
But
I was saying he charged that. I was like, fuck, okay.
What Topside's saying too, if this team's so good, why is a 16-year-old need to put in a 10-minute cameo to help make sure that we stay off City? Because imagine the state that we'd be in if Everton does draw with us or beat us potentially, because they looked the better team before Downs came on. Imagine if we would have lost or drew that game to Everton and then we went and just dropped the game against City in the League Cup final. It doesn't matter where we've ever been in all comps, Saka. It doesn't. You haven't fucking won shit.
Yeah.
We put a little angel emoji there, so
as if Arteta. Don't worry, guys, because Arteta's the Messiah right now, Rob. So just be happy.
This is the farthest that Arsenal's been in all competitions, but the team hasn't fucking won. What does it matter?
Yeah.
What does it matter?
Yeah, well, this is kind of like
the difference. This is the difference of big teams versus teams that have, and this is part of the reason why football is shit. The big teams are acting like smaller teams.
Mid-club mentality. I think we discussed this yesterday on the show. It's like it's pervading our club now. It's just this. We think we're Aston Villa.
Yeah, and it's no disrespect to clubs like Aston Villa and Everton, but the problem is at the end of the day is we're not you. We're Arsenal. We are in the same categories as the big three of all the other fucking leagues. And again, you go to all the other leagues, all the big threes ain't standing for this shit. Because not only will they not stand for it, but the fucking fans won't stand for it. That's the problem. That what we've seen right here is the reason why Arsenal's standards are dog shit. Because 85 to 90% of the fan base has that exact same mentality. And the problem is at the end of the day is that mentality is the reason why we are where we are.
Yeah.
That's it at the end of the day. Again, I use this all the time. Mancini won 7 trophies for Inter in 4 years. They still sacked his ass because it wasn't good enough because they didn't win the Champions League, which was what was required to be at Inter at that time. They brought in Jose Mourinho and they told him the same thing. You got 2 years. First year, win the league, go as far as you can go in the Champions League. Tell us what you need to get over the line of the Champions League. We'll get it. But if you don't win the Champions League in your second year, we don't care if you win the double. We're sacking your ass. And he went and won the fucking treble. So it is what it is. That's the difference of big clubs versus this fucking stupid shit.
Yeah.
But to what you guys, to what we were talking, to get back to what we were talking about, do you see us in these 4 games in the Premier League? Do you guys think that we're dropping any of these games? I mean, I personally think City beat us, but I don't know if I'm convinced that Bournemouth or these other teams will cause us to drop points. What do you guys think? We'll go around. Manny, what do you think?
Yeah, listen, I'm actually going to just try and make sure I get the itinerary up, because I don't want to sound as if I'm waffling or anything like that. Apart from the City game, which I think, we will end up losing because, City, in the words of Nico O'Reilly, they smell blood in the water. Now, again, it remains to be seen whether he was just talking about that League Cup final or whether he was, prognosticating, for want of a better word. We will find out. And as long as they've got Pep Guardiola, I have full faith that they're going to have, they've got that fire in their bellies. They've got that little, that thing which has sort of fired them up again. And I could see them going on an unbeaten run. So we're going to have to make sure that we keep our, we get our houses in order. So the Bournemouth game, sadly enough, I could see us drawing this game because, Bournemouth are a team that enjoy playing attacking football. They did the double over us last season. David Raya had stinkers in both games. And this season, we did beat them 3-2 at Dean Court. And Dean Court has not been an easy place for people to go and get any results. In fact, we've seen the likes of Liverpool and other teams come a cropper against Bournemouth at that stadium. But, Bournemouth, they do play some very good attacking football. They've got some excellent attacking players. That Brazilian kid, Ryan, has taken to the Premiership like a duck to water. Marcus Tavernier is still more than capable of running the strings, and he is someone who can definitely end up getting a move, as could Justin Kluivert. So that's another team that you could potentially ransack, to use your term, Gianni. And I could see us drawing that game. If we do win that game, it will be a bonus. Newcastle United, I think it's fair to say that they are not the same team without Bruno Guimaraes in that midfield of theirs. But, they do have a couple of ex-Gooners in Aaron Ramsdale and Joe Willock who would love nothing more than to come back and try and, and put a dent in our hopes of winning the title, as will the Fulham old boys, Emile Smith-Rowe, Bernd Leno and Alex Iwobi. And then after that, it's West Ham, Burnley and Crystal Palace. I'm reasonably confident when it comes to those games. And the Southampton game in the FA Cup, I hear what people are saying when they say that our record at St. Mary's has not been good. And Southampton, of course, are the same team that knocked Fulham out of the FA Cup in the previous round. But listen, Fulham didn't take the tournament seriously. And Marco Silva could very well end up, leaving Fulham if he doesn't get them into Europe, as you were saying, with the coefficient meaning that 8th could go to the Conference League. I don't know if it'll go that far, but we'll have to see.
No, it will. It will.
But as far as the Southampton team, but this Southampton team, yes, they're doing well in the Championship. Yes, they are looking to try to get into the playoffs, and I have no doubt that they will, give us a good challenge. But we should have enough in us, at least in theory, to, overcome them. But my biggest fear is that if we play the way we did against Mansfield Town against this lot, we could end up, having our, shorts and our jocks pulled down, and that will not be a pretty sight. I'm hopeful that we can at least get a 2-1 win against this lot and just, get it over and done with. But it won't be easy. And as I speak, Southampton are currently 6th, ahead of Wrexham on goal difference. So they've definitely got a bigger fish to fry than the FA Cup, even if they end up going out. And as far as Sporting Lisbon and the Champions League are concerned, I'd like to think that we'll be able to go through. But this team under Kasper Hjulmand is far, far different to the team that we thrashed in the Champions League group stages last season. And at that time, they had already lost Ruben Amorim, and there was this other chap who was, in charge, and he was absolutely awful. Again, at this stage, Gianni, when it comes to competitions, knockout competitions, Performances mean nothing. Scores mean everything. I'd like to think that we'll squeak through. It will be, ugly, stinky, 1-0 or 2-1 to the Arsenal in either or both legs. Heck, we might even go through on penalties. I don't freaking care. I'm predicting again, and I'm going to stay consistent with my predictions. 2-1 against Southampton, 2-1 in both legs against Sporting. We should be home and dry. But sadly, it wouldn't surprise me if we lose these competitions. I'm still also hopeful of a 2-1 win over Bournemouth, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if we draw. Hopefully, we'll get our act together and take things seriously. But hope and history seldom rhyme, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, and the one thing that I'm worried about is that, see, for me, like I said, for me, it's 2 trophies mandatory or he has to go. If he only wins the league, I'm sorry. The amount of money that we've given him and the amount of time it's taken, I'm not with him staying for that. However, if my other question that I will add to this is this: is there a way that you end up seeing him? Not is there a way, because it could potentially happen, but do you think he may sacrifice the FA Cup to guarantee us to try to push forward for the league? Because I see a world where he ends up continuing to play the second team in the FA Cup, because with the amount of injuries, I don't think he can flog these guys for that many more games. I think somebody will end up getting a serious injury to one of our key players, and then it derails a lot. Like, again, I would not be shocked if he starts Declan Rice. For me, the second team should start against Southampton. I don't care if it's a risk. You got to give these guys some rest. These guys need to get more rest and push through to see the main ones.
Yeah,
absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. Macy, what do you think? Do you see us dropping any points in these next 4 Premier League games? You see us dropping against Bournemouth or City or Newcastle or Fulham? What do you think?
The Bournemouth game, I'm a bit worried about, Gianni, because I still have nightmares from last season when they beat us 2-1. And now this Bournemouth team is desperate to get European football for the first time in history. And it wouldn't surprise me if they come to the Emirates and beat us again. And now that we've got a lot of injuries, we've got Madueke injured, Eze is injured, Saka. We don't know if Rice is 100% fit for that game because we had to bring him back from his international duty. Saka as well, and Kapi had to come back as well. So a lot of these players are looking a bit knackered, and also they're still having thoughts of that League Cup final embarrassment still in their heads. So I don't know how how is that going to affect them going into the end of the season. So, like, they have to find a way to put that League Cup embarrassment behind them and focus on getting that Premier League title. But are they going to do it? It's a big question in my mind. So for me, like, I just think we're going to have to settle for a draw against Bournemouth, because for me, like, Bournemouth, like, I know Bournemouth's defense are a bit shaky at times, but their attack is more dangerous with Cyrus Christie, Justin Cliver, and Marcus Tavernier. Like, their attack is more dangerous than our attack. And then
that's Ryan Christie, Macy, not Cyrus Christie. Ryan Christie.
Oh yeah, the Celtic guy. Yeah, the guy who used to play for Celtic. Yeah, I remember another guy named Christie, Cyrus. Sorry. And then after that, we've got, like you said, we've got an FA Cup game against Southampton. I am confident we can go through, but my issue is that our record at St. Mary's hasn't been great. We have not won at Southampton since the last time we faced them in the Premier League, and ever since they got relegated back to the Championship, they're starting to pick up some decent results under the new manager, who is of course from Germany. And they're currently 6th in the Championship, still trying to get that playoffs. And for me, I still think we can go through, but I'm not confident we can win the whole FA Cup thing, because we've got Man City and Liverpool. They're still in the tournament. And if we get either one of them, they're going to end our FA Cup journey. But I'm still confident we can beat Southampton. I'm going for a 2-1 dirty win. And the Sporting Lisbon game, I mean, Sporting Lisbon, the way they absolutely destroyed Bodo Glimt in that second leg, they're going to be charged up in the against us, because now that the manager of theirs has got them clicking again. Now that they're going to be up for it, because they've got some ballers as well. They've got Trincao, they've got a lot of ballers, and I don't know.
Luis Suarez, the striker, is dangerous. He's actually
the one who used to play for Liverpool.
No,
it's the Colombian Suarez. It's the Colombian Luis Suarez.
Oh, okay.
Colombian Luis Suarez, and he's actually on pace.
He was banging in as many goals as Gyökeres did when he was at Sport.
And they also got a guy that used to play for West Ham, if I can remember. Some guy that left West Ham to come to Sporting. I can't remember his name. So,
They got a good listen. Sporting is not going to play. Sporting is not going to play anything different than what Manchester City did against us in the League Cup. They're going to play a high line. They're going to risk it. They're going to play attacking football. It's, are we going to be able to see it out and actually counterattack and be able to counter what these guys do and go forward and win? Because, like I said, the League Cup game, everybody can say all these top gooner hand jobs and all these other morons that are saying all this crazy shit. The problem is, at the end of the day, is that's the worst Manchester City defense I've seen since 07.
I just don't know how we were able to test their defense. Like, the only time we did was when Havertz and Saka had had those 3 chances to score. But James Trafford, as I said it before, this goalkeeper has only conceded 2 goals in the League Cup. He's a decent goalkeeper, this Trafford. I understand that. Like, he's not like. I understand that Donnarumma has been the main goalkeeper for City, but don't count out Trafford. He is somebody that is also another good goalkeeper as well. And for like, this is what happens when
shitting hell.
Yeah, this is what happens when Arteta always gets manipulated by Pep.
Yep.
Yeah, because when Pep put out Trafford, Arteta said, "You know what? I'll give Kepa an opportunity," and look what happened. Because Trafford at least showed Kepa on how to not make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So for me,
100%. Rob, what are you thinking? You think we're dropping any points in these 4 games? You think we beat City? You think we're drawing City? What do you think out of these 4 games in the league?
With Bournemouth, do you know who the last team to beat Bournemouth in the Premier League was?
Oh,
Us. January the 3rd. Bournemouth haven't lost a game in the Premier League since January the 3rd against us.
Crazy.
Wow.
Which is a weird one, because you think, okay, how does that work psychologically? Is that good or bad? Because they haven't lost a game, obviously, for a long time, since January the 3rd. So you think maybe for them that's good. But also, the last team that they did lose to was us. So psychologically, that could be bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And Bournemouth had drawn their last 5 games. So I kind of align with what Macy's saying about the draw prediction. I kind of see a draw in that game. And I see us basically, let me just get the fixtures on my screen again. So in terms of the league,
what's funny? Bournemouth has the lowest amount of losses that's not in the top 3.
Right.
Bournemouth only has 7
draw
losses.
a lot of games. They draw a lot of games.
They've drawn 15 games. They've lost 7, won 9, and drew 15. So
that's an early kickoff as well, 12:30. That of all the games that we've got, I do see that and Man City as being draws, and I think we win the other ones. So it's Bournemouth, City, Newcastle at home, and Fulham. I think we beat Newcastle and Fulham. I think we draw or potentially lose against City. I think we draw against Bournemouth. That would be my outlook on it. It kind of depends on the preceding weeks in terms of injuries, though. It's quite difficult to predict Arsenal 4 games ahead because we don't know who the fuck is going to die in the next 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Because every single day, it's like, oh, who's injured now? Every couple of days, someone new is injured. So it's a little bit difficult to predict that far ahead. But I would say of the next 4 games, 2 draws, 2 wins for me.
Oh, 2 draws, 2 wins is bad.
Draw Bournemouth, draw City, beat Newcastle, beat Fulham.
That doesn't sound as bad as I originally thought.
Yeah, drawing City would be good. Drawing City is key.
Yeah, but
we can get away. We can get away with a draw with Bournemouth if we draw City, because then we don't give them that swing at all. Which that's fine. If we get 2 draws and 2 wins out of the next 4 games, even if City wins the 3 other games, plus the game in hand, if they win the other 3 games plus the game in hand, we're fine.
You're also forgetting as well. Our third last game is away to West Ham, and they are still fighting for their fucking life right now.
I know.
They're
Oh, no,
fighting
they-
for their
they
life
haven't-
right now, and we'll be in a catch-22 situation here. Do we just give up to West Ham just for Tottenham to get relegated, or do we actually try and win the game?
See,
I mean,
the thing with me is this, right? And I was going to get on to West Ham. The thing with me for City is this. I think that City end up beating us, if I'm being quite honest with you, at the Etihad.
Yeah.
But I'm confident that we beat Bournemouth, and that we beat Newcastle, and that we beat Fulham. They're all going to be shitty games. They're all going to be shitty fucking games. They're all going to be a shitty 2-1 or 1-0. I don't see us blowing the doors off of anybody. City, the only thing that worries me with this City game is this. I personally think we lose. The question is how do we lose? If we lose a close game to City, then I think we're fine. If we get the doors blown off of us by City, because remember, City's the second game in this run. It's Newcastle and Fulham are the last 2. So if we somehow draw with Bournemouth, they beat Chelsea, and then they win the game in hand, the point difference drops significantly. And then if they beat us, then it's a problem, because if they beat Crystal Palace, they're within 6. If we draw with Bournemouth and they beat Chelsea, they're within 4, and then they beat us at the Etihad. It's a 1-point lead at that point. So I think it's a very interesting situation. And then, like you said, Carl, West Ham is a problem. And not only West Ham, we don't know what the situation is with Palace either, because Palace, even though they are a distance away, Palace is one of those teams to where if they don't win, they're still fighting for European place, either through the league or through the
Conference League.
Conference League. So the question then depends where that is. So I think at the end of the day, we should. I'm hoping we get over the line, but I said, fuck, 1 point left, 1 point between us. We got to go to West Ham. This is the other thing. Like, this is the other thing for me that makes it difficult, especially when you see these guys hopping in talking craziness. The problem is that why are we still, after $1 billion spent in 6 years, why are we still hoping for other teams to take care of business for us? That's another problem. Why are we still hoping that these other teams are going to be able to why are we still waiting for players to be not players? Why are we waiting for other teams to do the business for us and not us handle the task at hand? You know, that run that we had with Nottingham Forest, Wolves, Liverpool, and all that, the league should have been put away from there. Kwaja, what do you think about these next 4?
The next 4 Premier League games is obviously going to be huge for us, mate. Obviously, that defeat in the finals is going to really determine whether or not these players are going to be up for this in the title race. I hope this is a wake-up call. I hope I'm wrong, that we can win this league. I mean, you've got mutants in the chat saying, "Oh, what's your excuses if we win the league?" There is no excuses. We just want to win the league. End of. I don't want to hear any excuses about it. I mean, this is an opportunity to win the league. Manchester City and Liverpool. The league has not been great. Let's be real. We're top of the league because Man City have been dropping points. Let's be real. If we had not got this luck, we would have been second or third like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the amount of times that we've had opportunities to be 10, 11, 15, 20 points, we should have been like what Liverpool did last season when they were 15 points clear, 20 points clear. We won. We keep dropping points unnecessarily. And this is a position now where we have to beat Bournemouth every single game. But the Etihad match, I think he's going to play for a draw because our Etihad record is not great, because our last win at the Etihad in the league was January 2015, which was 11 years ago. I mean, that was Arsene Wenger. The last time we won at the Etihad was when Arsene Wenger was our manager. I mean, if we won 2-0. I mean, Arteta, I think he'll play for the draw. I just feel like it's just depends on how we play the game, because if he's just going to park the bus the whole game, I think we're going to lose that match, because we know some of our plays are going to be tired at some point, because when you look at in the second half of the Carabao Cup, Arteta was parking the bus. He never wanted to attack the game. He wanted to play for the draw in extra time, and we got exposed, and he's going to do the same thing here. And I just feel like with the Bournemouth game, they haven't lost the game, I know, but I just feel like we just need to win our games, whether if it's a stinky win or not. Just keep winning your games. End of. I don't want to hear any but if this and that. We spend $1 billion, you have to win. End of. And we've got to win the FA Cup as well, because you can't just have one Premier League. I'm sorry, bro. If he wins one Premier League and that's it, he needs to get out, because that's not enough. I expect to see us win 2 trophies. That Carabao Cup was a huge opportunity. Arteta threw it away because his cowardly tactics costed us. And now in a position where you've got mutants in the Twitter, like Rob is doing on his channel. These mutants are going, "Oh, super duper, make Arteta this. Why are you being so harsh about Arteta? If Arteta wins the league, you don't deserve to go to the parade. You're a fake fan." And I'm like, just shut your mouth, bro. Yeah. We've been calling out criticism. We've been calling it out, and we are right to call it out. Even if we win games, we will still call it out, because the manager everyone's going to go, "Oh, but give Arteta credit for the wins, and it needs to lead to a trophy." If he wins the league, I'll give him his props, give him his credit. But he needs to win the FA Cup. And we've got this Southampton game, which is very key for us. I mean, we're going to their stadium, and I don't want to see Kepa in goal, by the way, because that performance in the Carabao Cup final, that was a disgrace. Ray should be in goal. That shows you why you need your big players to play in the final. He didn't. And we got Southampton next. I mean, it's not going to be easy. I feel like we'll win. However, I want to see rotation, Gianni, like you just mentioned. Second team. But it doesn't matter if it's a championship team. But I think they're like 7th or 6th in the table. I hope someone in the chat please tell me which position Southampton are in the championship. But I feel like we should be winning this match and book our place at Wembley. And we just need to, keep winning. And I hope that this defeat doesn't affect us in the title race. I mean, the Champions League I don't think we're winning it, because even if we get past Sporting, because we got Barcelona, Atletico, even if we face Atletico, I just feel like they're going to be too strong for us. And everyone's going to talk about the Harambe derby again. I'm like, Diego Simeone does not play Harambe. Arteta plays more Harambe than Simeone. Simeone plays good attacking football. I mean,
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Hansi Flick's already won a trophy this season. He beat Real Madrid in the final, so he's already won a trophy this season. I don't think Barcelona will take Arteta anyway, because they're not that stupid. They know Arteta isn't a winner. They want proper managers. I mean, you got Top Gunners are now saying Mikel Arteta will want to manage a Real Madrid. I mean, he ain't taking Real Madrid, bro. Let's be real. Don't even say to me that Arteta is going to Real Madrid.
Arbeloa might be a rookie, but even he's better than Arteta right now.
Yeah, he plays better football. Maybe not the best of football, but he's getting results.
It's not great football. They can turn it on when they wanted. The best game I think I saw him play was in the Champions League against Man City. They bopped them off the park.
Funny enough, that was part of the point of what I was going to say about the manager.
Yeah, exactly.
The B team of Real Madrid slapped the fuck out of City. We don't do anything simple to what they did to win. This idiot and this is what I mean by when people constantly just have this blind loyalty for the manager. He tried winning it in his own way when we were given a blueprint to how to beat Real Madrid. We didn't take it and we got smoked. Sorry. Yes, the scoreline was only 2-0. That 5-minute period where Nico O'Reilly scored his 2 goals, we couldn't get the fucking ball out of our own half. They made us look like absolute fucking idiots. They made us look absolutely like fucking idiots, the fact that they do that. And it's the B team. It was the B team was able to make them look like idiots. Plus, they had a better lineup because Gahey was there. Big up, Binks. Appreciate you stopping by for the conversation.
Good night, Binks. Take care.
But it's a whole fucking thing with that it's ridiculous. No. The only way Arteta wins the only way Arteta is to get a statue is if he wins multiple Premier Leagues and a Champions League. That's it. That's it. I'm sorry. No. You don't give statues for people who are supposed to do their fucking job and who are supposed to do their fucking job. I don't understand why we should have standards for somebody just doing their job. That's mediocre standards. That's why we're here in the first place. I don't get this under this whole situation right now with people thinking that it's okay to look at that. Jim, our next four fixtures in the league are Bournemouth, Man City, Newcastle, and Fulham. Do you think that we get maximum points, or do you think there's points that we're dropping in those next four for the league?
I'll say it's going to be hard games then, to be honest. And I think we're going to draw against Bournemouth because they're not lost since Arsenal beat them. So it's going to be a tough game. City, well, we have to beat City at the Etihad because if they beat us, then, and if they win their game in hand, it's going to be three points behind us. Newcastle, is it at the St James's Park or?
It's at the Emirates. We beat Newcastle United 2-1 in September.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'll say a 2-1 stinking win. Something like that.
We're at home for three out of the four. The only one that we're on the road for in the league is City at the Etihad.
Yeah.
We're at home against Fulham, Newcastle, and Bournemouth. The only other time that we leave, the next time that we leave the Emirates after the Etihad is we got to go away to West Ham.
Yeah. And Fulham, I'll say we could draw there or win there. As for West Ham, well, if they get a win against us, that'll go and relegate Spurs, which I like to see. Yeah. So we got, and then against Sporting.
Sporting's not going to be easy. I think
it's not going to be easy.
I think we just get by. I think we just get by Sporting, but the again semifinal. That's where it's ending. We're not beating Barcelona.
We're not beating Barca or Atletico.
Yeah, Atletico. I think we can beat. I still think we can beat Atletico because Atletico. I think Atletico gave up way too many stupid goals to a shit Spurs side. I think we can get at Atletico and beat them. My worry is that if we play and show up the same way that we did against Man City in the League Cup final, we're going to get smoked. Yeah. We're going to get smoked.
Also, for Atletico, don't forget Jan Oblak might still not be back fit.
Oh,
yeah. If Oblak's not back fit, then yes, we will go on to beat Atletico if we get them. But Barcelona, we're not beating. No. And then you can take your pick. We're not beating PSG or Bayern Munich.
Nope.
We're not beating either one of those teams. I'm sorry. The people are going to say, oh, we beat Bayern. Brother, Musiala wasn't there.
No, Musiala will be fit.
Musiala's fit.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Musiala makes that team a completely different fucking problem to play Bayern Munich with him there. It's a completely different team. And PSG, if they get hot, and they get on the same form and the same bullshit that they were last year, we're not beating them either.
PSG are gonna smoke Liverpool, and then the best team winning that other semi-final. It was Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. That would be a good semi-final.
That would be a good semi-final. Yeah.
Listen, I think the problem is exactly what you said. With a good Saka, when is it enough? Let me just ask you a question. What's the dollar amount? What's the dollar amount required?
One Premier League ain't gonna. You can't have one Premier League in 6 years. That's not enough.
Besides that,
Minimum of two trophies. End
fuck
of.
the Premier League. Fuck
Yeah,
the
two
Premier League in
trophies.
6 years. What is the dollar amount required for him to be sacked? What's the dollar amount? If he goes, let's say he wins the league this year, what's the limit now? How much longer is he allowed to stay after he wins the Premier League? And how much money is he going to be given more so? Because if he wins one Premier League and he stays here for 8 years and we only got one Premier League and we hit 1.5 to 1.6 billion, which is the same amount of money that Roman Abramovich pumped into Chelsea, he's not staying, bro. He can't stay. I'm sorry. And this is a perfect example here. If he wins the Premier League and it's the only trophy he walks away with, he's won 2 trophies out of a possible 26 since he's been here. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
It's not only that, we're kind of extrapolating into the future in what we're seeing now, and we're looking at the Premier League, the state that it's in now. We must get better. The Premier League must get better, surely, in the preceding seasons. So, we could be potentially looking at a situation where, let's say we win the Premier League this season, but if he doesn't win it for another 2-3 years, let's say going into the future, that would be like what 10 years, and all you've won is an FA Cup in the Premier League.
Yep.
So this is kind of what we're foreseeing and trying to prevent. We're trying to get some.
And listen, Liverpool's the bigger threat next year. I'm sorry. I think City has to win this Premier League to stave off another year of going trophyless. I think Liverpool's the bigger threat next year, especially if it's Xabi Alonso. His team is already being. If you look at the way that they've bought players, right? People are trying to say, "Oh, well, they have both Isak and Ekitike." Brother, if he plays a 3-4-3, he's playing the both of them at the same time. They're not going to be sitting on the bench.
That is nasty.
Like, picture a world where he's playing a 3-4-3 with Wirtz as a 10 and Isak and Ekitike are the 2 strikers up top in front of Wirtz. And again, this is the other thing that people forget. Their best player this season has been Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai made his name as a left winger. He never played in the midfield like that for Leipzig. Leipzig, if you guys all remember, Leipzig played that 4-2-2-2 Gegenpress and shit. He played as a left wing / number 10. He could very much go out to the left wing in that 3-4-3 formation. You still got Gravenberch and McAllister in the middle, and then you move Frimpong to his natural position, which is a right winger. And then the only question is what is Liverpool doing defensively? That's the only thing that they would legitimately have to spend money. That's why I think that Liverpool, for me, when you look at the fact that Xabi Alonso is tipped to be the favorite to take over the team, him playing that 3-4-3 with what they have, they just need a couple of tweaks and Liverpool could run it back next year with a new manager and a fresh face in the locker room. We've seen it before. We've seen this type of shit happen before. So for me, again, that's why my point as to why I asked, when is enough enough? How much money are you going to limit him to? What's the best question to ask is what's the money that he needs to be limited to if he wins the league this year? How much more money should he be allowed to get? And then what's the trophy count supposed to be at that? Because if everybody's saying that he's a good manager with an FA Cup, with a team that wasn't his, got rid of everybody on that team damn near, and then spent over $1 billion to put this team together, and he's only won 1 Premier League in the time frame that he spent $1 billion. I'm sorry, what are we doing here? What is this conversation even going then? Because again, we'll just quickly ask this. Let's say we give him 1.6 billion in total. Let's say he wins the Premier League and he somehow parlays 2 to 3 more years here, and we hit 1.6 billion, but the only other thing he wins is maybe an FA Cup. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm sorry. 1.6 billion matches what Roman Abramovich pumped into Chelsea. That's 19 fucking trophies. There's a difference here to be looking at things that way. Just imagine that. PFC? No. I think United will struggle to fight for top 4 next year since you guys will be in Europe. Because you guys are in the same boat. You guys the Glazers have to come out and prove that they're going to invest money, or Ineos is going to come out and spend a shit ton of money. I don't see either happening. Your stadium's a shithole. They have to fucking fix up the stadium and do other shit. I personally think United might just get 2 players and say have at it for whoever's hired on as the manager. I think the games in Europe will take away from you guys in the beginning of the season to where it will affect you to where you're not in the title race next year. My personal opinion.
This is why I've nicknamed Man United Houseplant FC. Because hold it, let me land. Because every time they play a 1 game a week, they win games. Whenever they've got 2 games in the week, they've had 2 draws, 1 loss.
And of course, we don't even know if Carrick's going to be the manager next season. In all likelihood, he might not be. But
I wouldn't. Full disclosure, I wouldn't hire Michael Carrick.
I wouldn't. But I could see Man United doing it.
I would not hire Michael Carrick. If I'm Man United, I would not
have a proper manager.
Exactly. I wouldn't hire him. I wouldn't hire him. Would not hire him one bit. If Allegri walks from AC Milan, I'm taking AC Milan. I'm taking Max Allegri over Michael Carrick.
Yeah,
If Conte leaves Napoli, yeah, he may be explosive. I'm taking Napoli. I'm taking Conte over Michael Carrick. I'm sorry. I'm taking proven managers over a guy who got a team hot. Look at what some managers have done when they strike when the kettle's hot and fucking and go on that new, they extend the new manager bounce longer than what we normally see it. Roberto Di Matteo did it. Thomas Tuchel did it. Again, we've seen managers come in and get a hot bounce with a team. Tuchel extended it for 18 months with Chelsea because the following year after they came in 3rd place, they were dog shit under him. Whether anybody likes it or not, Tuchel's first couple games of the season where he eventually got sacked, Chelsea were playing like shit. So I'm sorry. I just don't think, for United's sake, Carrick is not a big enough coach to take over that team. If that's what United fans want, cool. Continue to languish. Because
they'll repeat the same mistake they made with a certain Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Exactly.
They got a touch with him doing as well as he's done, and they should accept that they landed on their feet a little bit with that, but you can't keep it going. It's like a little wind-up toy. It's going to wind down soon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, it's the same situation with Arteta. If Arteta let's say Arteta goes on and wins the league he wins the league, right? Fantastic. I'll congratulate you. You've earned your way to stay for another year for me, as long as you win the FA Cup as well. If you only walk away with the league, for me, it's not enough because I'm taking into account all the money spent and everything else. But let's say I bend and say, sure, you get to stay after just winning the league. What happens next season if the rest of these injuries come back and bite us in the ass and now we're in a top 4 battle? Now what's the situation? Because if we end up from winning the league into a top 4 battle because of injuries that he caused, do you keep him or do you sack him? For me, if we end up in a top 4 battle after we win the league because of injuries, I'm sacking him.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
Johnny, guys, I got a bounce, yeah? So, big up to you all, yeah?
Big up, Rob,
as usual.
But
yeah, good to see you all, and I'll see you all again soon, of course. Yeah, so
Yep.
I think you're doing a show on Wednesday, is it?
Doing a show Wednesday. I'll be at a hockey game tomorrow night, so I won't be. I will not be.
Who are the Blackhawks playing, Jenny?
The Winnipeg Jets. We get to see Jonathan Toews return to Chicago again.
Jets are out anyway. They're not doing well.
And neither are the Blackhawks.
Then. So big up everyone. Have a good evening. Big up all the chat.
Big up, man. Take care. Good night.
Yep.
Bye, Rob. Cheers.
But for me, like I said, for me, trying to see how to word this question properly. When did majority of this fan base turn to where it was blind loyalty for a manager like this? Did it start with? Do you guys think it started with Wenger, or do you think it's gone? Do you think it's more so with what's been going on with just Arteta?
It's difficult to pinpoint when it technically happened. Yeah, there was more positive and negative regarding of Arsene Wenger, but I also think it was also a certain point when people started to realize, Wenger's time might be, he might be, he's overspent his welcome, shall we say, of everything.
Yep.
with Arteta, I generally believe this is the PR machine has been in so much overdrive that I think it's completely consumed every single fan that doesn't have a brain cell. That's why I generally do. I generally do believe that. You know, if people just say this and they are match going fans like the season ticket holders, you know, they're more entitled to their opinion because they go to the games and so on. But in the same breath, you can't just have to cloud your judgment. You have to look and see what I support multiple teams in different sports, right? But I can tell when a team is playing really well and looking good for, we could actually do really well here. Like we could make the Stanley Cup, we can make the World Series, and you get what I mean, right? But you can also tell when a team is that unbelievably shit that you call it out for what it is.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying we're completely shit, but it's like trying to pull a wisdom tooth out. It's fucking hard. Every single game we've played for like the last 2 or 3 seasons, it's been hard work.
Oh,
it's
brother,
been hard work watching this team. We've all gone, okay, maybe not James, but we've all gone grey for Christ's sake regarding
Bro, I legit can't smoke before Arsenal games anymore because I'll fall asleep during the game. I'm just being honest. I can't get stoned before Arsenal games or I will fall asleep. The first game against Everton, I smoked, I fell asleep through half the game. Because it was so fucking boring. Because it was so fucking boring. And that's the other thing. I don't care what anybody says. If we pull off the league victory this year, we're not winning the league again next year playing the same brand of football. It ain't happening. If it does, it shows you how shit the Premier League is, even with all the money that's been pumped into it. It would show you how bad the league really is if Arsenal was able to win the league again in this state of how we're playing football. Do you guys agree? Open discussion on this one. Do you guys all agree that we need to change the style of play, or do you think the league is so shit that we could potentially pull off another victory with the way we're playing?
I feel like we need to change the style of play. Before I go, Gianni, I feel like we need to change the style of play because it's not good enough. This is not sustainable. If we keep playing like this next season, that shows you how boring the Premier League is. And right now, Gianni, it's the Farmers League. The Premier League right now is the Farmers League right now because the way we're playing and all the other teams around us struggling shows you that the Premier League right now is the most boring league in the world right now. And that shows you how bad the quality of the Premier League is. It's more like PR Emmy League, Gianni, because of the PR that the Premier League is. It's not the best league in the world. If this was the best league in the world, other teams should be playing attacking football, but it's not. We just don't play attacking football, and I just feel like he needs to win the league this season. But if you want to win the league next season, in your final season, if you don't sign your contract, if you don't sign that new contract, he's got to win the league next season by changing the style of play. If he keeps playing like this, that shows you how boring this Premier League is. Sorry, the PR Premier League is, because it's not the Premier League anymore that we used to watch. I mean, AJ, I just don't know if he's going to play the 22-23. He's going to play the same old robotic football. And I think next season, when Odegaard's fully fit, he will try and put Odegaard back in the team and leave Eze on the bench for the whole time. And that's going to be the big problem. Because if
Odegaard doesn't leave after this season, all hope is lost.
Yeah, that's the big problem, because he's going to really put Eze on that bench, not even give him all the minutes. He's going to play his love child, Odegaard, and we all know he's a scrub. I mean, apparently he's going to return for after the international break. He's going to do absolutely fuck all, mate. Let's be real with it. He is doing jack shit when he comes back after the international break. He's going to stink out against Southampton, and everyone's going to talk about, oh, but we missed him. No, we don't. He's been rubbish all season, and he's been one of our worst players this season, along with Saka as well. So what are we doing here? So listen, the league is still the Premier League quality is poor, Gianni. Let's be real with it. It's been poor for quite a while now, and the way we're playing football right now, it shows you why the Premier League's not that entertaining. And everyone's talking about the Premier League is the most overrated league. I think it is overrated because
it is.
The way they hype up this league to be the best in the world. I mean, La Liga's a better a league than the Premier League. Serie A is better than than the Premier League because
Quality of games
Quality, yeah.
amongst
I'll give you the quality.
amongst the games are a little bit better than Premier League. Premier League quality of player is better than Serie A, but La Liga is still the best in order to watch. Listen, there's no to your point, Quaja, before you go, you're absolutely right, because if the Premier League is so good, why is it as soon as the referees in Europe say you can't do what the Premier League's been allowing on the corner kicks, as soon as they get rid of that, the Premier Leagues get the shit kicked out of them in the next round? I mean, let's be honest. If Galatasaray had their shooting boots on in Turkey, it wouldn't have mattered how big Anfield is and everything else. They still would have been knocked out of the tournament. Arsenal would be the only team left. Let's just be honest here. So at the end of the day, you're 100% spot on with that, because a simple rule change for corner kicks should not be what causes all these Premier League teams to go out and lose. You know what I mean? So appreciate you hopping on, my guy. Do you want to shout your channel before you bounce, bro?
Yeah, I'm just gonna post more shorts on my channel. Obviously, if you look in my chat, you can go and click on it and subscribe to me if you want. But listen, I'm just gonna chill out. Got to watch the England game. That's another friendly, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Where do we go from here? We've got Southampton next. That's the big game for us. We have to win that FA Cup. If we want to win the double, you've got to win the FA Cup, because the Champions League is very unlikely with the teams that we've got surrounding us. It's going to be tough, because when it comes to crunch time, yeah, it's going to be a big to ask for us, because PSG last season crunch time, yeah, we crumbled, and we're going to crumble under huge pressure this season if Arteta don't step up. But yeah, big up to the chat, big up the panel, and yeah, take care. See you later, Gianni. Big up,
Yes, guys. Take care, brother.
Take care, everyone.
What do you guys think to that? To the point that what Quaj is making, are you guys in agreement that the Premier League is a very overrated league? It's just because of the amount of money it's getting pumped in. Because I listen, I think the only reason why we've gotten away with where we've been at is because everybody else has been shit. I don't think there's
no one stepped up.
Yeah.
No one has absolutely stepped up. City are not what they used to be, but they're still on our tail. Liverpool could go down as one of the worst defending champions in Premier League history, although I think Leicester City might have something to say about that, but that was always a one-off. Yeah. Chelsea, they're remaking freaking Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch, so that's not going to either. Man United, Man United always look like they're going to be on the cusp, and then they just fall flat on their face. I just don't know. And then you've got the likes of Newcastle and Villa, they're trying. Don't get me wrong, they're trying, but they're always going to be like 2-3 steps behind everybody else.
Yep.
And Newcastle, you thought they were.
Villa's squad is just too weak, Carl. I mean, they go on this run, but they get their players injured. I mean, they lost Kamara, McGinn, and Tielemans at the worst possible time. It was the equivalent of literally being disemboweled, and it affected their form. I mean, there were some games where Emery was also tactically off it, maybe 1 or 2 games, but still, they actually could still finish high enough in the league to get top 3 or 4, and they should win the Europa League, I think.
They should do.
That's a great season for them.
Unless Villa could be Villa Forest semi-final on the right side of the bracket, but we never get.
I'm taking Villa all day long.
I'm taking Villa as well. I'm taking Villa as well.
I'm taking Villa as well.
But the actual consensus of the league has just been boring. I mean, what did I watch a few weeks ago? I think it was a La Liga game. It was Osasuna versus Mallorca. No idea who the players are. No idea where they are in the league. I thought, right, fuck it. I'm just going to sit back and watch this game, see if I enjoy it. That was probably the best game of football I've watched in a good bit. And that was on 2 teams I knew nothing about, any of the players. The only thing I know about Mallorca is the fact I cycle there on my training camps. That was it. That's all I know. So it's good to see. Put it this way. I'll leave this here before I let Jim or Macy or Manny cover me, right? Arsenal have become that boring and bad. Me watching reruns of Bluey with my son is actually A, more exciting, and B, you actually get some life lessons.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad it's got.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. Manny, what do you think? You think along the lines of what like me and Carl have been saying, the league's just overrated, the league has just not been good? Because I'll say this. I can't honestly remember any team winning in any league where they haven't put a 90-minute performance in at least one game. That to me is the biggest standout when it comes with Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, Kawaja pretty much nailed it. This is pretty much the new Farmers League. And basically this season, I mean, it's no coincidence. It's a World Cup season. So a large number of teams have sort of been, deliberately underperforming, it must be said. Mm-hmm. It could be that, certain players are just, not really willing to put in that maximum effort because they don't want to run the risk of injury and have it affect their World Cup chances. We've seen that with Odegaard in Norway. I think he will still go to the World Cup, but that should be the end of his time with Arsenal. I think he'll want to leave, and that's perfect. Yeah. And some of the football that's been played has been pretty poor. I think one exception to the rule, and the reason why I talk about Aston Villa a lot is because they had a dreadful start to the season, with one draw in their first 5 games, and a lot of people were talking about how it's falling apart at Villa. Emery is going to get sacked. They're going back to the Championship, and we'll never have to hear from them again. And then an amazing run later, they were near the top 2 or 3. They beat us at Villa Park and were cock a hoop. But some of the football that they played in that run has been nothing short of wonderful. And, when Emery's teams start to play really good football, they really do play some good football. And this Aston Villa team, certainly some of the goals they were scoring from outside the box, the passing they were doing. For me, I've enjoyed watching them a lot more than Arsenal. And that's an indictment because Emery was, of course, Arteta's predecessor. And he's supposed to be the guy that Arteta sexuals end up, dissing as someone who ain't anywhere near in Arteta's league. Well, bollocks to that, as we would say in the UK or elsewhere. And I would say that with the exception of Villa and maybe 1 or 2 other teams, some of the football that we've seen so far has been, just turgid, counter-attacking stuff. And some teams that have been, simply awful. And we've seen a situation where a team like Wolverhampton Wanderers, when they rocked up at the Emirates, they only had 2 points all season. And they still nearly, gave us a really tough game. We needed 2 own goals to beat them. We only had 2 shots on target that whole game. And some of the football that we've played this season has been so much worse than anything under Unai Emery. I don't want to hear anyone gaslight me about the 30-odd shots conceded against Watford ever again. What we've seen here has been so much worse. And, the likes of City and Liverpool and other teams that have been expected to challenge have dropped the ball. Newcastle were, always going to find it difficult to maintain their momentum, and they also had a pretty poor run. It's just a case of, it's almost as if, whether it's competing for the top 3 or top 4, top 5, or even competing for the league, it's almost as if it's a game of hot potato being played. I don't know if hot potato is very popular in the UK. I mean, we prefer pass the parcel, but I know how much you Americans do seem to like a little hot potato every now and then. Yeah. And, it's just, it's like nobody seems to want it. It's a question of who wants it more. And it shouldn't be that way because when you have teams that are capable of playing good football, every team should want it and quality should shine through. And the fact that we're there, despite not really playing some of the best football, it's just awful. I take Pav's point when he says that if City somehow find a way to win this league and we bottle it, then English football can be put in the bin and we can never call other leagues farmers anymore.
That's facts.
But even if we win this league, it's certainly not going to be a perfect advertisement for the Premier League. And unless we improve next season, unless we see things start to take a turn for the better, then that is going to be the way it will be. Gianni, gentlemen, I'm going to have to go and sleep. It's quite late for me. I am literally, dead on my feet, bushed, as you would say. But listen, I want to say, ever since the first time I come on your streams on your channel, it's been absolutely wonderful. I've really, really enjoyed myself, and I hope to keep coming back again because one day you and I need to have a little bit of a talk about American sports, especially ice hockey.
You're more than welcome whenever. We can schedule it. Hockey's my favorite sport behind football.
Yeah, and of course, one of your Stanley Cup wins was won with the help of the former Bolt Brad Richards. I don't know remember what role he played, but he was a great
massive.
player for us.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a great player for us too.
Wait, you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan?
Of course. Go Bolts, baby.
See, my favorite guy on the Bolts was Vinny LeCavalier. That was my boy back in the day.
Oh, yeah. He was the first one to have his jersey retired. And then, of course, you had that beautiful little French-Canadian answering to the name of Martin Saint-Louis.
Yep.
Steve Eiserman drummed him out of the club. Bastard. Can never forgive him for that. Then so many others. Ian Bishop, Vasilevsky, Steve Stamkos.
Yep. Ryan Callahan before the injury.
Oh, yeah. Callahan too. I think he came from the Sabres.
Yep.
Yeah.
One little bit of history.
No, he came from the Rangers.
Yeah.
New York Rangers he came from.
A little bit of history. Though. He was on the verge of moving back in the 90s, wasn't you? The Lightning were an absolute mess at one point. It was either they were on the verge of moving because their ownership was running them fucking so badly into the ground.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But then things changed.
They started to, be a serious contender. Then all of a sudden, that could have been Atlanta. That could have been the Atlanta Thrashers.
Well, they moved. Yeah, they moved.
Yeah. They moved twice.
Yeah. But listen, I mean, yeah.
They were the Flames. They moved to Calgary, and then when the NHL gave them another chance again, that fell flat on its face, and they ended up moving to Winnipeg.
Yep.
Yeah, but since then things have changed, and now we're always competing, always fighting, and it makes me happy. I mean, I know that the Bucks are a much-loved team, but there is nothing like ice hockey in the evening at the Amalie Arena. You can never beat it. Gentlemen, a pleasure. Good night, and see you all soon.
Big up, Manny.
Big up, Manny. Yeah, and you're a Bruins fan, right?
Yes. I'm not exactly happy with that franchise right now. Ever since we fucking fired Bruce Cassidy, we haven't been great at all. We might get a wild card, but we're gonna get blasted by the Sabres.
You know what?
That sounds weird.
It happens to all the teams with hockey when the dynasty comes to an end. It is what it is. Look at the Hawks. We're going on over 10 years since the last one. It's been 11 years since we won a Stanley Cup. And we were the most dominant team in the NHL for a 5-year stretch. So
yeah, not without a slight bit of controversy, which I'm not going to bring in because it is quite. It's quite rough.
It's quite rough, but at the same time, if you're a grown-ass man getting beat up by a smaller dude, there's a problem there with that situation. So the Flyers are shit, T-Gray. I don't know what the hell happened with that team. That team is a fucking joke. That team is a fucking joke. This question is Suge over a 38-game season. I'm guessing this is presumably about the the Super League. If we had a league that consists of PSG, Real, Barca, Bayern, Atletico, City, Inter, where do we finish? Brother, if it was set up like a league, maybe we would be okay. But how it works with the Champions League, I think truly shows the measuring stick of where we're at. But at the same time, I don't know. If we played in the Super League, I honestly don't know where we would consist of in that, because I don't think PSG I think PSG is a much better team than ours from 1 to 11 as far as their 11 players on the pitch. Real Madrid has been injuries and the chaos behind the scenes, but I honestly don't know if we would be better than them. Barca, I don't think so. Bayern, I don't think so. Atletico, we would be better than. Inter, we should be better than. And City, coming with the way they've been this year, we should be better than. But compared to some of the other ones, I don't know. I honestly think that we would maybe be fighting for a top 4 place when you look at it from a situation from that perspective. Again, I don't see us beating PSG or Bayern if by some chance we made it to the final. And after the display that we had in the League Cup final, I don't see us beating Barcelona. So it's a good question. I just don't know where. I don't know where it would go as far as that, in my personal opinion. What do you think, Carl and Jim? Whoever wants.
I'll let you go, Carl.
So what Suge is basically saying, if this is the equivalent of a Super League.
Yeah, basically, if you had a Super League,
In a nutshell, Suge, that's what you're doing. Is this the PSG, Real Barca, Bayern? Yeah, something tells me
Like top 4 or 5.
top 4. Yeah, I think that's probably what you look. I think you're looking at PSG, Real Madrid. You're probably looking at Barca, and then it's probably a toss-up. Pardon the pun there, between either Bayern Munich or Man City. Atletico can get up there, but it's always like 1 in like 5 years they probably get up there doing it. Maybe. As for Inter have always been a very good team, a storied history. But the problem is though they are never consistent.
Yep.
And I think in that league you've got to be consistent, and that's where I see it anyway.
That's the thing. Nobody's been consistent. That's why it's ever since the dominance of Juventus ended, there hasn't been a team to win back-to-back Serie A titles. There hasn't been a single team since the Juventus dominance that's won back-to-back Serie A titles. That's why consistency is key when you look at it with the Serie A. Jim, where do you think we stand if we were in a Super League? You think same thing, top 4, top 5?
I'll say top 5, to be honest.
Top 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear it. I hear it. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate your guys' time and hopping on. I'm gonna end the stream. I got a card game that I gotta go play.
Oh, card game, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
What we guess? Poker?
No, between the sheets. You ever played between the sheets?
I haven't.
Hey.
No.
Between the sheets is the devil's game. Man.
oh, I haven't played that.
Between the sheets is basically you get a card and you have to put your card down, and then you have to bet if the next 2 cards that are come out, if you're going to get in between the 2 cards. If you lose, so like say you get a 6, and then the two cards that comes out is like a 4. No, you get a 6, you have to hope like you get basically between 5 and 8 or whatever, but you have to bet. If you get hit with the same card, or let's say you're 6 and a 6 comes out and then it says 8, you lose. You can't have the same card out there.
Oh,
So you got to get in
we
between.
just played that once with my dad.
And
That's
it's big.
hell of fun.
With some of the guys who are going to be there, it's going to be big money. So
That
that
could very easily turn into a drinking game, and it'll be over in about half an hour.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. It's freaking trust me, they've been drinking all day. It's the first 70-degree day in Chicago today. So they probably already are plastered, knowing a couple of them.
Yeah,
so
not
we'll see what happens. Carl, you got anything going on? You want to shout your channel? And appreciate your time hopping on, bro.
Yeah, thank you for having me, mate. Much appreciated. I did the first live stream of my new channel early on this evening, so go check that out. So I'll be doing a show. I'll probably be doing a show tomorrow because on Wednesday I'm on the Pats Pod doing my hosting duties. We're going through all the classes of the NFL draft right now. So I think this Wednesday we're doing linebackers. So we've done most of the important ones we want to look for anyway. And we're building up towards that. Also, as well, in about a few weeks' time at the Hippodrome Casino in London, the pod is actually going out there to we're unveiling our brand new brand. We're under a new banner, under a new network, and we've got a new name. So this little that flag I have behind my Randy Moss jersey is will now be redundant. So yeah.
All good, man. All good. Jim, appreciate your time hopping on, my guy, as always. We will be back Wednesday. For a World Cup qualifier review show and call in. So if you guys are free, you're more than welcome to hop on. I will, I said,
I'll try to.
I will not.
I've also found something else out as well. April 6th, which is obviously next Monday, is my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Napoli versus AC Milan.
Yep.
My team against your team.
Yep. Big game. Big game. And it's Serie A is heating up. If Inter drop points to if Inter drop points to Rome, if they tie in Napoli or AC, if AC Milan win and Inter tie, they're only, I think, 3 points behind. And if Napoli win and Inter tie, we're only 5 points behind with 7 games left. And this is where we jumped into last year when they capitulated. So it's all up for grabs still in Serie A. It's a nutcase league as always. But big up to you guys. Appreciate everybody hopping on. Head over to Sarcasm City. We will go to Sarcasm City. He's doing a panel show right now. Big him up every single time. Big up to Flawless every single time. Appreciate everybody who stopped by. Bav, Suj, Gavin, Binks, Marie, all the usual suspects. Appreciate everything. And yeah, we will be back Wednesday. Italy, do not fail me. If you lose to Bosnia, I will be getting canceled. I will be getting canceled Wednesday. Just know that. I will be getting canceled Wednesday if Bosnia.
Italy don't piss off Johnny.
Yeah. Big up to everybody. Appreciate you stopping by. And yeah, I'll see you guys Wednesday.